I call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Ms. Metoyer?
Here.
Ms. Fleur? Here. Ms. Black?
Here.
Ms. Yelsey?
Here.
Ms. Bartow?
Here.
Ms. Anderson? Here. Ms. Snell?
Here.
Dr. Clark?
Here.
Do we have any public comments? Okay, we are International School for Science and Culture Proposition 39 request. We are recessing into closed session. I reconvene the meeting. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here. We'll be having our opening ceremonies and a moment of reflection, and Jennifer will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Jennifer.
Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, our first item is adoption of the agenda, and I would like to move 19B to in between number 9 and number 10.
Move adoption of the agenda as amended.
Second.
It was moved by Mrs. Fleur, seconded by Mrs. Yelsey.
Black.
Mrs. Black, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? 7-0. Adoption of the minutes.
Move adoption of the minutes of March 12th, 2019.
Second.
That was moved by Mrs. Black, seconded by Mrs. Yelsey. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstain? Okay. Number 19B moved to be number 9.5. That it's the naming of the Welcome Center, the Karen Kendall Welcome Center. Ooh. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the naming of the Welcome Center located at the Best Center, so we have a center at a center, the Karen Kendall Welcome Center. The board received a request through Board Policy 7310 to process to name the Welcome Center for former principal and director Karen Kendall. Before Karen retired, she had started the Welcome Center way back in the day when it was just a wonderful intake place for students that came to us with a second language. And she put her heart and soul into welcoming students into our district and to making the process as easy as possible for families and principals, I might add. It was wonderful for us to be able to be comforted knowing that all of our brand new students came to us with the levels already attached. We knew exactly where to place them, and their lives would be so much better at school. The current consideration, we are exercising our option to expedite the name process, and it is requested that the Board of Education approve the request to name the Welcome Center the Karen Kendall Welcome Center. Do we have?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Fleur. Do we have a second? Seconded by Mrs. Yelsey. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstained? That was one of the fastest motions we've ever had, and it was the easiest and the best.
Mrs. Metoyer, I didn't say anything because I think it's so important, but I too have known Karen for many, many years and was very involved with her and traveled with her. She was, we went multiple places, and I actually knew Karen before she was with the district when she owned her little sweater shop. And it wasn't necessarily little either, but it was a great place to buy hand-knit sweaters, and so I think this is wonderful. I know that her husband is here, and perhaps he could say
I was
a few
going
words.
to say that we have family members that are here, and I was hoping that since I don't know everyone and everyone's names, that perhaps maybe Mr. McGuire, do you think you could come and introduce the Kendall family members? Or Mr. Kendall could do that, I'm sure. Mr. Kendall, would you like to come up?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my wife, Karen Kendall.
Hi.
I'm the husband, Bob Kendall. Our son, JR, is here, and Angie is here, our daughter. Angie's husband is here, Kelly, on the end there. That's the end of the family.
I was going to say, there are lots of Karen Kendall groupies out in the audience, and I would be there if I weren't here. That's, Amparo Ames, our first and foremost school community facilitator. Amparo is here. Brooke Booth, former principal of several of our schools, is here. Oops. Oh, hi,
God.
Lori.
Oh, my
Could
God.
they stand up because I
You know what,
can't
if you're
see
here for
them?
Kendall, Karen, comma Karen, would you please stand?
Hey.
Also, oh, there she is.
Okay,
Hi.
and in breaking with
Yeah.
our protocol, because I can do that once in a while, I'm going to give us a 5-minute break after this wonderful celebration, so some of us can come down and say hello, and then we can get back to the business and we can move along.
Can I
Wait.
also suggest that
Oh, I'm sorry, there were, yes.
I'm sorry. I just want to suggest that if anybody would, I know Amparo, I'm sorry, you wrote a nice letter. If anybody wanted to come forward and say a few
good idea.
words, we'd love to hear them.
Amparo, you're never off. You
I was
are
going to say, when is-
never
at a loss for words.
Yeah, I was looking for you. I couldn't
Good
find
call,
you.
Mrs. Snell.
Thank you.
Could you get her to the mic?
Oh, to the mic.
To the mic. To the mic, to the
We
mic.
now have very sensitive mics because everything we say is not only captioned, but it's translated, so.
Oh,
So.
excellent. So I'll say everything in Spanish then.
Gracias, señora.
Good evening. I'm Amparo Ames. I used to be the school community facilitator at Ensign for many years and then moved to the district. Worked with Karen for 10 years when we had to go through a process, a very intense process
Comité.
to get programs, community, everyone on the same page. It was, of course, not only a delight, but it was a privilege and an amazing experience because she went from being maybe someone that adult ed students knew to then all of the community, all the parents, Spanish-speaking, she already knew a lot of English-speaking parents, but she went from being an unknown administrator to a very beloved administrator in the district. And she was always very loving, very embracing of the community, of the students, of everything positive. And one of the things I remember best that I've said before, and when she retired, was that she had so much energy. When I first met her, I asked her, do you drink a lot of coffee? Do you take vitamins? What do you do? Because she would just keep going and going, evening commitments, everything. And I found out that she would drink a huge iced tea with lemonade, that the mix. And then she would have drawers full of chocolate. Yes. So that was her energy, and she was so inspiring that I wasn't into chocolate or tea, but I just would keep going with her in everything we did. So it was just a privilege to work with her. She's an amazing person. She did of something just regular process, extraordinary process in the district. And the parents love her, the students, I think, benefited from it, teachers, everyone. So I think she's the most deserving of having a welcome center in the district.
Thank you.
Excellent. Mrs. Snell?
Yeah, just briefly, when I first came on the board, like 5 years ago, she was one of the first people that really reached out to me and was so nice And at first I thought, is she for real? She's not that happy. That can't be true. But she is. She wasn't, there was nothing, that's her. She was positive, or she is positive, excited about everything she was doing. And I'm really pleased that she has made such a contribution to our district. And I'm really pleased she's being honored in this way. And I'm excited to see her.
It's an extra bonus.
Congratulations.
Mrs. Fluor?
Well, there's a couple of things that many don't know.
Oh, please.
Yes, sure.
You have to come
You
up
have to
to the
come up
mic.
so we can record it for all time.
I just wanted everybody to know that Karen cannot speak or see very well, but she can hear and understand everything. And I wanted you guys to know that if she could speak, she would be extremely grateful to every single one of you. And she's thrilled to have been honored like this. And she would probably be as emotional about it as I am. The other thing I wanted to say in the name of gratitude is that a long time ago, I might have had this idea, but there was one guy who really, really jumped in and picked up the ball and ran with it. I was the coach on the sidelines, if you will, and he was the quarterback running the team and getting all the work done. And that is Mr. Mike McGuire. And I want to publicly thank Mike for all his hard work, because he did a tremendous job in getting all the paperwork together and answering all the questions. And I'm very glad for him, and I hope God blesses him and his family for all the hard work he did.
Thank you, Bob.
A couple of things that Karen will remember is that we always thought of her as our cheerleader. She was the cheerleader of the district. She always, and when we had some issues with, we had a cheerleading incident years and years ago at Newport Harbor, we tasked Karen with writing the very first cheerleading handbook that I think is probably still in existence today. And I don't think there is an administrator in this district, past or present, that remembers her 3 C's when she was going through the comité process. Clarity, coherence, and compliance. And those were what every single administrator knew when we were going through that comité process, which was recognized as one of the finest processes from the Orange County Department of Ed. They used our model that Karen had developed. She really guided us through that process, and so I bet you everybody can remember those words.
I did.
She tried to be scary about it, but she could never pull off being scary.
No, and that was what I was going to say. I've never met a more cheerful person who had to deliver bad news, good news. And when you first met Karen, you kind of went, oh, really? Is this woman for real? And then you know her, and she is. You are happy, you are kind, you like people, so you make them feel like they're the most important person in the room when you're talking to them. And I know our current Director of Special Projects, Vanessa Gailey, had big shoes to fill with making sure that she could outdo how many emails were sent to principals when things had to be turned in. It was really a challenge. She's pretty much up to it, I have to say, but it was really a challenge. And yet, even though it was, you need to get this turned in, don't forget you need 4 copies, you knew there was a smile in the email. And I thank you for that. You gave us a model on how to be gracious. And back even further, when I was my very first principalship, at that time, Karen was the principal at Harborview. And I could dial 68 6, 8, 10, I knew, and I could say, okay, am I supposed to do this? I didn't want to call too often because I didn't want to look like I didn't know how to do my job, but she would always answer kindly and quickly. So we couldn't have chosen a better name. And Karen, thank you for making the extra efforts to get out here today. That's just a joy for us. Thank you so much. Dr. Dowdy. I feel like I'm in class.
So good evening, I'm Britt Dowdy, I'm president of the Newport-Mesa Federation of Teachers, and I want to say on behalf of our members how excited we are for this honor to be bestowed upon our beloved administrator, Karen Kendall. And there are hundreds of our members who have deep admiration and respect for the work that she's done over a long service to our community, and we want to thank her. Specifically on a personal note, many of you may know that when I first came to Newport-Mesa, I had the good fortune where Dr. Navarro and Mrs. Kendall were my two immediate supervisors. And Karen, you have been an inspiration to me throughout my career. You were involved with helping to guide me in a formative part early in my career. And I want you to know how much love and respect that I have for you. And I'm so happy that your name will live forever in Newport-Mesa for many, many, many years. So thank you for your long service and leadership for our students and our employees.
Thank you, Dr. Dowdy. And anyone else? I don't want to miss the opportunity. All righty, we're going to have a short little 5-minute recess. I hate to be a killjoy, but as much fun as it is to have a meeting that goes till 10:30, let's not. So, moving right along, we now have the joy of having more happiness happening, and I turn over to Mrs. Lenk from PTA. You have some good stuff to tell us.
Yes, good evening, President Matoye, Dr. Navarro, board members, cabinet, and guests. My name is Julie Lenk, and I'm Harbor Council PTA president. Annually, the Harbor Council PTA hosts a program called Reflections. The program is an art recognition program that has been sponsored by National PTA since 1969. Each year, there is a theme established. The program honors students for their achievement in 6 categories: literature, film video, visual arts, photography, dance choreography, and musical composition. Harbor Council PTA submits their winners to 4th District PTA. 4th District PTA represents all schools with PTAs in Orange County. The following Newport-Mesa Unified School District students won 1st place at 4th District, with 2 of them moving on to state and to nationals. And it's our pleasure to celebrate their outstanding achievement. First up, we have Coco Chang from Anderson Elementary. And she won 1st place in intermediate dance choreography.
Gotta wait for Dad. Gotta wait for Dad.
Wait, like that.
Next, we have Grace O'Brien from Newport Harbor High School, and she won high school dance choreography. She's a state winner and moving on to national. So cool. Into that. Well, you should be. I know, she should be. And next we have Angel Hernandez from Back Bay High School. And this was a Visual Arts Award of Excellence.
All right.
Cool. Mm-hmm. And then we have Angelina Espinosa from Davis Magnet, and it's for literature, and she won the Award of Excellence.
I don't think she's here.
So accepting on her behalf.
Okay. We'll tell her we said congratulations. I'm so excited. Thank you. Thank you. And next we have Zubair from Adams Elementary in Film Production, Award of Excellence, state winner, and moving on to national.
So little.
Adriana, are our pictures going to be available for parents on our internet? Okay.
Congratulations all.
Julie, how many years has Zarar won?
How many years has the
Zarar has won before.
Like 3 years in a row.
How many times have you won? How many?
Zarar has won state, including this time, 3 times. He set a state record at age 5 in photography for winning.
Oh, my goodness.
Last year he won, so your blessing, if she should win, All America would be great.
Julie, would it be possible, I know in the future, some of us have not been able to make it, but in the future, next year or even this year, sometimes we got to see the actual
Artwork?
the artwork, and we were able to see the video of the dance production as well as the photography, and we got the story that was written for the literature. So in the future, or if you can get pictures of it that were submitted,
Absolutely.
we'd
We'll
love
have
to
it
see
for you, a
pictures of it.
slideshow or whatever. That would be great, huh?
Thank you. Thank you so
Absolutely, and
much.
I'm sure
Love it.
Adriana would love it to have it so that we can have it, it goes out everywhere, so
We'd like to have it.
Absolutely.
thank you. All right, next good thing on our menu, on our agenda, we have the 2018-19 District Teacher of the Year recipients, Mrs. Olson.
Thank you, President Matoye, members of the board, Dr. Navarro, cabinet members, guests. What a great follow-up to celebrating our students and to celebrate our fine teachers, which we have so many of within the Newport-Mesa Unified School District. And each year, for Teacher of the Year, we are also fortunate that NMFT, our Teachers Federation, takes the lead on this and coordinates the selection from all of our schools and then narrows it down. And then we have this year 3 Teachers of the Year that will be submitted to Orange County. So with that, I would actually introduce Dr. Britt Dowdy, who will take it from there.
So good evening. So first, we would like to introduce our Teachers of the Year for Newport-Mesa Unified School District. So we have Colleen Tolles teaches English Language Arts at Ensign Intermediate, and congratulations, Colleen. And Daniela Ramos teaches kindergarten at Davis Magnet School. Tamara Fairbanks teaches music at Mariners Elementary, and she is having a performance with her children tonight, so she is not able to be here. So congratulations, Tamara. Yeah, so I'm going to say a few things, and then we'll do photos. So I'll try to keep this fairly brief, but so everyone understands how the process operates is that anyone in the district, parents, employees, students can nominate Teachers of the Year, and we go through that process every fall. And then The Federation sends out application packets for each of those nominees, and then we go through a selection process. And then the finalists within that process, we then go and visit their classrooms and get to see them in action. And these 3 teachers are some of the most amazing people we've ever seen. So we are highly confident that they will fare very well in the county competition. So then they are forwarded. There's a competition for all of the teachers of the year from each district in Orange County. And then those finalists move on to a state competition, et cetera, et cetera. So we try to mirror that process as we move forward. So at this point, I believe, Mrs. Matoye, you wanted to make some presentations?
I do. Come on up. We get our fabulous. Come on up. Daniela. Yes. And Colleen. Thank you. And since it's 3 of us, I'll stand in the middle.
And then I'll do an individual.
I could even put her Tamara's down here. No, I better not, because I'm not Tamara.
Yes, and let's do one at a time.
No, we have to wait for a whole bunch too.
Oh.
Paparazzi. Okay, now you want one at a time.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes. And would you
Not
like
me.
Mr. Shaka and her
Yeah.
family and everyone?
I'm
So-
going to
that.
ask
And-
you to be the key.
Of course, yes. So Daniela, your family and friends, and Mrs. Flores?
Mrs. Flores. Oh, just two first, okay.
Okay.
And then
Everyone else.
family.
Do you want to get in on this one, Christy?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Our audience.
Come on in, everyone.
Gee, too bad nobody cares.
Somebody's baby.
Oh, we haven't done our individuals.
Okay, and Mike, come in here too. Yeah, get the family and.
Family, come on in. Family, it's everybody.
Righty.
So just stand there and look.
So again, thank you everyone for the Teacher of the Year nominations, and we look forward to this process again next year. Thank you.
Keep us
Thank you.
posted.
Yes, keep us posted, right. All righty. Whew. Now we're on to our regular business, which is exciting. Jennifer, let's have a report from Newport Harbor. Nope, I'm wrong, from, well, go ahead, try Newport Harbor. But Estancia would be better. Wouldn't that be fun? Oh, it's almost April Fool's. We could have almost done it. Okay.
Good evening, I'm Jennifer Neri, and I am representing Estancia High School. One of our academic updates is we're looking forward to adding 2 more classes to our schedules. The 2 classes that we're looking at is Anatomy and AP Seminar, which is from Lexium Academy. It's not for sure, but they are really interested in adding those 2 classes, as well as some of our Estancia Construction Technology students are preparing for an upcoming design build competition through the California Home Building Foundation. It is a 2-day event on April 6th and 7th at Huntington Beach. They have to build a house, and also they have to construct it with mentors. And it's our first year participating in this event, which is pretty exciting. They also have to meet deadlines and pass inspections throughout the event. And they will learn the value of safety, teamwork, and craftsmanship. So it's pretty exciting. And one of our academic athletic updates is our Estancia baseball team was against Costa Mesa High School at Angel Stadium, and it was raining and hailing, and we still pulled out a victory.
Yes,
so it's
you
pretty
did.
exciting.
Yes, you did.
And then one of our upcoming events is Estancia's music program is performing this Friday at Costa Mesa High School, because our band program it keeps growing, so we don't fit in our theater anymore. So we have to go to a bigger theater. And that's it.
Thank you very, very much. Now, we will have Raphael from Estancia, from Newport Harbor, really.
I'm Raphael, and I am Newport Harbor High School representative. Okay, a little quick academic update is our IB theater students are working really hard on getting their own plays that they've written to production. So this May or June, they still haven't figured out the day will be when they perform and actually do their plays. So that's something I always look forward to. I went last year, and the play was super funny. A little athletic update. Girls lacrosse won their Battle of the Bay last Thursday, and that was pretty awesome. This Friday, we're gonna have the volleyball, the boys volleyball Battle of the Bay at home, and it's gonna be a whiteout. So that's something I'll be a part of. Some recent events, we had CSF food trucks, a food truck fundraiser last night at our Welcome Aboard event at Newport Harbor High School. The Welcome Aboard event was an info night for 8th grade parents and students who were coming into Newport Harbor High School. We had a lot of the head of departments there, like math and science and all social sciences, and they all talked about their curriculum and everything like that. And they also had an info fair in the quad area where we had clubs and sports, and we actually had some of the heads have little class sessions for parents who still wanted more questions that didn't feel like their questions were answered at the presentation. Last week we had an Array 2019 dance show that went super well. The tickets were remarkable. We sold out Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Wow.
So it was record-breaking sales that everyone was super excited about, and the event was super awesome. I loved seeing all the dance perform. They were amazing. Some upcoming events. This Wednesday, we're going to have the Newport Harbor Zone Vocal Music Concert. All the vocal music students from the Newport Harbor Zone, including Mariners, Kaiser, Whittier, Newport Heights Elementary, Instant Intermediate, are coming together to perform on stage. It's going to happen at 6:30, and we would love to see all of you guys there. It's free for all NMUSD employees, so money isn't an issue.
No.
I have my badge.
There you go.
And then the week coming back from spring break, we're going to have Bridges Speed Friendships. Bridges is a club I'm a part of that's all about bringing inclusion on campus. And we're having the Speed Friendships where it's tables that are alongside the science stairs at Newport Harbor, and people are going to be sitting in front of each other, and we're going to have a host asking them questions, and they're going to get 30 seconds to reply and just listen to the other person answer the question. So we do this just so that we know that the school is about 2,300 students, so it is hard to get to know everyone. So we do this as a club to make sure that everyone gets to know other people that aren't in their social circle, because we do have a big attendance. Around 200 students go to it, so it is really well liked. And something that's also happening in April is our In the Heights, the musical, is coming up. So that's I love the music, the soundtrack of it. So I'm really excited to see what our school does. And then this week is Kindness Week at Newport Harbor. So we've been doing a lot of Kindness Week stuff there. On Sunday, we were there from 7 to 9:30, decorating the science stairs and 2,400 students' names all around. So that was really exciting. And then we had a special rally today hosted by our Adam Dudash, and he was just talking to the students, and yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Cool. That's a lot. Thank you very much. Isaiah?
Hi there, my name is Isaiah Murphy. I'm from Costa Mesa High School. In terms of academics, our graduating class of 2019 has been having an exceptional year in terms of college acceptances. We have some kids who have already gotten into Stanford, Duke, UCLA, and plenty of other incredible universities, and we're all horribly anxiously waiting for Berkeley on Thursday. And on April 1st, our ASB is going to be beginning their recruitment process for next year with an informational meeting for all students who wish to attend. And in terms of academics, both varsity baseball and tennis will be playing at Santa Ana tonight. And in terms of current events, we just had our school drumline held a performance that I didn't know about before, but they just had a surprise performance at lunch in the gym, and it was really awesome. They're such a good team. And currently, our middle school is in, or not middle school, our school is in the middle of Mesa March Madness, which is populated by band, musical, and color guard performances. And this Thursday, we're going to be holding our annual spring spotlight in the middle school quad, which all of you are welcome to attend. And on April 2nd, our advanced band, orchestra, intermediate band, and various featured soloists will be performing in the annual Bravo concert in the theater. And at the end of the week, we're going to be having our conclusion of the Spread the Love Week, where we're all going to be selling various products to fundraise for our clubs and spread the love. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Isaiah. And last but certainly not least, Alex from CDM.
Not Alex. That's not Alex. You always
I'm
do that.
sorry, I do that, I read it. You sat behind Alex's name, you become Alex, but that's okay.
Hello, my name is Solomon Sunshine, and I'm filling in for Alex Kermani.
Thank you, Solomon.
Secretary Treasurer of our ASB. So this week, our AP Art History students went on a field trip to the Norton Simon Museum in Pasadena on Friday. They were given a private tour before the museum opened to the general public, and it was a very unique opportunity that I'm sure all of them were very excited to be a part of. Athletically, we have a boys tennis Kings Crew game coming up, so we should have plenty of students out watching against Los Alamitos, and they're undefeated in league and look to continue that. And we also very excited for Friday. We have our Battle of the Bay volleyball game, like the Newport Harbor representative said, but we're gonna win. So, so our drama department has been preparing for their spring musical, The Drowsy Chaperone. It begins Thursday and will be continuing throughout the end of the week, and it should be a really great production. Additionally, we just had our CDM Spotlight for incoming 8th grade students to show them the various activities and clubs they can be part of around campus. I was a part of that, and it was really great, very informational, and also good community building. And then last but not least, we have our Clash of the Classes rally this Friday. So we have the 4 different grade levels competing in competitions and activities throughout this week. And we have our ASB elections coming up next week. So it should be really fun to see the candidates running and spread their campaign messages to win leadership positions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Solomon, very much for filling in. And in case anyone's interested, Early College High School is not here because they are on spring break. Lucky. Okay. Now, Mrs. Lenk, Harbor Council, as the PTA report.
Yeah, PTA report. Good evening again. Our parent education series, our next education evening with parents is on April 3rd at Newport Harbor High School, where the topic is helping your child build character and setting them up for success. And a little side note on that is I've met with Sarah Coley and a few times, and we've got most of next year planned out.
Ooh.
So, you know, all our topics and speakers and stuff. So we're moving right along.
We've heard
So
nothing but good things, very positive.
I'm excited about that. We're getting a lot of information from the community and getting a head start on all of that.
Great.
And I believe we've confirmed that they're not going to be at the individual sites. They're all going to be, we felt the parents would feel more comfortable having it here at the Sanborn.
I think
Oh,
that's great.
nice.
So one place, you know, no confusion, no, where's the gym? Where's this, you know, so.
Good idea.
And our membership update, we have 6,933 members. So, and we have a new Harbor Council Facebook page. We want you to like it.
We need to like it.
Getting it out there. You gotta like it. And this is what I'm super excited about, is Harbor Council, we received the Outstanding Council Award at the administration dinner. You know, we have 20 councils in our area in Orange County, and we got the #1, and I'm so excited about that. And it's only possible with the dedication of our amazing Harbor Council PTA and the great work of each unit. So it's kudos to everybody, you know, from Dr. Navarro all the way down. I mean, it's just, we have a strong community. I'm so proud to be a part of it, so thank you.
Thank you very much. Gee, we've got a good news theme.
Yeah.
And it's continuing. Hold on one second, because I want to officially say this. I think I could have handled it anyway. However, now we have our report time, and our report is Mr. Drake is going to lead us. Oops. What did I miss?
16. No? Oh,
We're
wait.
not,
Oh,
we're
after.
only on 13.
Okay. Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay, we'll get to 16, I
Community
promise.
input. Oh, didn't we already get community input? No, I'm kidding.
Nope,
Not yet.
we just had so much fun moving things around tonight.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to, just didn't want an error.
No, hey, keep me on my toes.
Okay, good. Sorry,
Okay,
Mr. Drake.
he's just wondering where the,
Just wondering if this is going to
Oh.
project.
Is it loading correctly?
Okay,
It's on the computer
it
here.
doesn't even have that cute little circle that spins around so we all know it's thinking.
maybe we should go to 16.
Can we get our presentation up?
Yeah, we have a hard copy, but the audience doesn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Our viewers at home.
Hello.
I can start.
Yes, okay.
And
There we go.
President Matoye,
That's all you needed to do.
board members, there we go.
That was the magic word.
Start. President Matoye, board members, Dr. Navarro, cabinet, and guests. It really is an honor here tonight to share with you our multi-tiered systems of support that are in place throughout the district in our schools. As you know, MTSS, Dr. Jocham will be proud of me to explain that MTSS doesn't just include academics, but actually it's a tiered system of support both for academic and our behavioral supports working in tandem to make sure that kids, barriers for kids are removed so that they can achieve. Tonight, however, we will be focusing really on the academic side in alignment with our priority here. And really specifically in relation to these systems, we're going to be looking at that third and fourth bullet there about first best instruction, and then really systematic ways of identifying kids' needs through assessment and then providing them the supports from there. In Newport-Mesa, and we're looking really at the left side of our MTSS system on the academic side, but in Newport-Mesa, our schools really have guideposts of tiers for students. Working from the bottom up, you have that tier 1 support, which is really for all kids. It revolves around that first best core instruction. If you think about what we've done over the last couple of years, we've really grown in this area through adoption of materials, through training, and through a real focused effort collectively with principals and the district in tandem working really to focus on providing that first best instruction for all kids. From that and through the formative assessments through that first tier, there are some kids moving up into that second tier of targeted intervention that need a little more time in our core areas. And they're provided that through systematic ways from site to site. And not one size or not one system or not one tool fits all of our sites. But in kind of design, systems provide and identify the needs of these kids who might need a little extra and provide that in a second tier. And then there's a few from there that need even more intensive support up there at the top. And so that's going to be the focus of our conversation tonight, are these tiered systems of support. And while we have systems in place at all of our sites, I'm going to ask Dr. Hogard to come and share her system at KellyBrooke Elementary School.
Thank you, Mr. Drake. Good evening, President Matoye, members of the board, Dr. Navarro, members of cabinet, and staff, students, and community here this evening with us. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come to you to speak about the work that we're doing at KellyBrooke. As you know, we've had a sustained pattern of academic achievement at KellyBrooke that's really been consistent throughout the transition from our state content standards into our new world of Common Core standards and all the instructional shifts that have followed. We attribute this pattern of academic achievement to several things. First of all, expert classroom instruction by a highly trained and dedicated teaching staff that many of you have met on visits to our school site. Excuse me. A very caring and motivating school environment. We have many things in place that you can see along the right side of the triangle, and we have a very caring environment for our students. We have research-based intervention system to support our students, and that's really going to be the focus of the presentation tonight. And we have continued efforts to engage a very supportive parent community at KellyBrooke. So tonight you're going to hear more about our Tier 2 program for academics called SOAR, Strategic Offerings to Accelerate Academic Success. And to lay the groundwork for you, I wanted to share with you that recently KellyBrooke was included in a multi-university study looking at 10 different schools that are Title I schools across our state, and schools that had patterns of high academic achievement and high numbers of students that are typically at risk for underachievement. And they found similarities between all 10 schools. Now, we weren't all doing the same type of program. We're all scattered all over the state. But what they found across our schools is a culture of universal achievement and high expectations. Our staff at KellyBrooke truly believes that our kids can achieve, and that really fuels a source of energy that you can feel when you're on our school site. And especially when you look at the work that we've done with No Excuses University and being part of the network and having our culture immersed in achievement for all. Clear learning targets was another commonality between the 10 schools that were in the study, including KellyBrooke, a real strong understanding of what we want our students to know and be able to do. Differentiated instruction was in place along all the tiers so that all students had what they need, including students that are above grade level, at grade level, or currently working below. Strong Tier 2 and 3 supports were in place at all 10 schools, and it was all wrapped up, just like at KellyBrooke, in a very caring environment. Two of the critical findings that came from this study that are important for us to know tonight is that they found that there are systems in place that work among these 10 schools. They're structured and they're successful, but they're not stagnant. They use the word agile. The school systems and the staff are agile to be responsive to the student needs, as we know are constantly changing, not just by year to year, but within the same year and oftentimes within the same month. So this evening we're going to focus a little bit on our Tier 2, but I wanted to introduce you to a very vibrant and diverse learning community at KellyBrooke. We're very proud that we're culturally, linguistically, and economically very diverse on our campus. Approximately 40% of our students are currently designated as English learners, and over half qualify for a free and reduced lunch. Now, our subgroup scores on the Smarter Balance test provide us with some really promising feedback about our work in closing the achievement gap. So two of the highlights that I wanted to share from our 2018 Smarter Balanced assessment data is that 46% of our English learners at KellyBrooke last year met or exceeded the standard on the Smarter Balanced in language arts, as compared with 16% across our county and only 12% across our state. So we're celebrating that at KellyBrooke. For our students who are socioeconomically disadvantaged, 59% of them met or exceeded standards in the Smarter Balance test in math last spring, as compared to 32% across our county and 26% across the state. That gives you a little bit of context about our students at KellyBrooke. Now, as Mr. Drake shared, we've done a lot of work in Tier 1, and it's important for us to address Tier 1 for a moment because it's an important part of every student's program, even the students that are also receiving services within Tier 2 and Tier 3. So in our Tier 1 program, our core instructional program at KellyBrooke, we've done a lot of work over the course of several years alongside with all of our district support in really developing a high-quality instructional program that aligns the Common Core standards with our instructional practices and our assessments. And in looking at our progression with professional development over the years at KellyBrooke, we've really started with a deep understanding of the standards and then moved on to strategies and our California state frameworks. And woven throughout was really making sure that we were staying immersed in what the research says so that we can apply it to our classroom practice each day. We have the benefit of a lot of great ongoing professional development support to support our Tier 1 program through our amazing teachers on special assignment. They're an amazing squad of professionals that come out to our sites and work with us with English language arts, English language development, and mathematics on a frequent basis. And they are incredibly responsive, and I'll use the word agile again, to help us as professionals to continue to improve our programming at our school. So our foundation in Tier 1 is strong. Now I'm going to jump to Tier 3 so we can land in Tier 2, which is the bulk of the presentation tonight. But I wanted to make sure that I discuss that concurrently, the process of program development has been happening with our Tier 3 program as well, in providing more intensive supports for our students with individualized education programs, or IEPs. So our work has been based on a growing body of research on inclusive practices for our students with IEPs. And with the help of our special education TOSAs and coordinator, we've been able to redesign our specialized academic instruction program, otherwise known as SAI, in a few critical ways. One of them is our morning time for our SAI staff is primarily push and support into our general education classrooms so they can either co-teach or do small group support alongside the general education teachers. And the goal there is for success in Tier 1, support what our children need that have IEPs so that they can fully participate and succeed in Tier 1. Our pullout for SAI is reserved for later in the day, and it's really more targeted instruction to a student's individualized IEP goals, and the amount of time really varies depending on what the child needs. There's been intensive collaboration between, as you can imagine, our special education teachers and assistants and our general education teachers, because now they're working in the same classroom together. And so having our special education teachers in the classroom has been a real gift for our teachers and our students, and it's been a gift for our special educators as well. We've seen a lot of benefits for our students, both academically and socially, in this model. And we've also seen a benefit of collaboration because our special educators now are really understanding what grade level targets look like in action and what grade level work looks like and the goals that we're trying to get our student to support our students to get them to. And consequently, our general education teachers are seeing our special education teachers differentiate and modify and support in really incredible ways. And so our general ed teachers are gaining some pretty incredible skills in being able to differentiate. So we're landing in Tier 2. This is our academic Tier 2 program, and we named it SOAR, and Strategic Offerings to Accelerate Academic Success, because we don't just want our students to make the same amount of ground as students who are working at or above grade level. We need our students who are struggling academically to actually gain more ground so that they catch up. Now, this was launched in 2016, and that was the time which you as a board provided more resources to our site for our intervention programs administered through the office of Mrs. Gailey. So we were able to put in place intervention teachers, wonderful professional development, identify materials that would be effective in working with our students. And our SOAR program, it's small group and targeted, so it's an additional layer on top of our Tier 1 programming. And we focus mainly on reading, English language development for our newcomers, and math. And currently we're serving about 80 students, which is about 20% of our student body. Now, in crafting our program, we were able to tap into the current research and literature on response to intervention, because under the umbrella of MTSS is response to intervention, or RTI. And so looking at how are we as a school staff going to be collaborating to really understand where our students who are struggling are currently working, We know where we want them to be at grade level, and then what are we going to do to close that gap? And so the questions that guided our initial launch of SOAR are the same questions that we continually ask ourselves as we reflect on our program, because we know that we need to be agile. We have to have those structured and sustainable systems, but also be responsive to our student needs. So we utilize the data to define our needs. The data sources that we utilize systematically and across grade levels are assessments that I know there's been presentations, so none of those names should be surprising to you, but we take a look at STAR reading and DIBELS and our Smarter Balanced in English Language Arts, as well as STAR Math and Smarter Balanced tests in math. And looking at our data helps us determine what our priorities are. And the bulk of our groups this year in our primary grades are focused on foundational skills, phonics and fluency, and then in upper grade, targeting reading comprehension, because most of our upper graders have mastered their phonics skills, and reading comprehension is where we're seeing a need. And also in upper grade math with concepts and problem solving. And we're focusing this year on 5th grade, and I'll share a little bit more in a moment about why. So from our data, determining our priorities, and then it's time to choose our practices. So in choosing our practices, I have to front load you. There are no magic materials. I wish I could come and tell you there are some magic materials and that it was that easy, but this work is very complex. There is a wide range of high quality and effective materials for targeted instruction. The materials are important, but the materials are not sufficient. The materials have to be in the hands of highly trained teachers and used within the context that is of conditions that promote success. So the context of things like appropriate group size and using assessment to drive instruction forward for that child. So building teacher capacity has been key, and we've had many professional development investments that are ongoing, both with consultants and specialists in the field, as well as our own internal teachers on special assignment to support us. So as you can see, our practices, we use SIPs for our primary students, and the students that are in the SIPs group come out to the SOAR groups, and they're in a smaller group size with a higher rate of progress monitoring. For our students that are in leveled literacy intervention, LLI, and I know there was a question at one of the previous meetings about LLI, we have LLI focusing on our students with needs with comprehension, and there's some fluency needs that are addressed through that as well. And then for math, we have a different approach to math this year. In math, last year, we used our Bridges Intervention program in a very sequential way, and we placed our students based on their placement test within the program and had multi-graded small group pullouts in the afternoons. And what we found is we got some great results with procedural computation, but we didn't see a lot of carryover into the problem solving in the classroom and into some of the higher level thinking that we need them to be able to do in math. So we decided to steer our efforts a bit this year and anchor our work in math intervention in our Tier 1 content. And so to do that, we chose one grade level so that we could anchor it right in what the students are doing in the classroom. So our math intervention teacher is pushing into our 5th grade classrooms 4 mornings a week and working in the classroom alongside the teacher, and in the afternoon pulling small group that is anchored right in whatever the class, whatever unit they're working on. So if they're working on decimals in their regular Bridges unit, that's what they're working on in their intervention program. And so it's designed to help bridge that gap, and we call it addressing unfinished learning. So one of the amazing resources that we're using from Student Achievement Partners is the Math Coherence Map. So our math intervention teacher is able to go into the Coherence Map, find the standards that are central to that day's lesson or that week's focus and bridges, and map it backwards into previous grade levels and identify what might be the unfinished learning for those students and address that and then anchor it back into what they're doing in the classroom. Now, we've been working with our math TOSA and our Bridges consultant with taking this approach, and we chose 5th grade for a reason. In 5th grade, we have found that our percentages have been lower from year to year in our percent of students meeting and exceeding standard, and that's been a similar pattern across our county and our state with 5th grade, believe it or not. And the 5th grade curriculum, it's very important for our students to master that as a gateway into success within the middle school math curriculum that starts in 6th grade with illustrative math. So 5th grade is very heavy on fractions content, and there's research around the importance of our students mastering fractions content in order to be successful within their high school math. And we know that our students, getting them successful in our high school math is going to help them get into college. And that's a huge part of KellyBrooke, is really helping our kids envision being ready for college and being launched. And we know that our work at the elementary school builds to that, and it's really important. So this year we decided to focus on 5th grade and answer the question, what would it take to get all of our students ready to succeed in 6th grade math? And we're matching our students to groups based on the data. So this is a team process that we undertake. I have the clip art of the Excel spreadsheet because over the years we've done a lot of things very manually and reports littered all over the room and trying to match things up. And we're really excited about Mr. Elmer Intervention Compass that Mr. Knights has connected us to, and allowing us to see our students' data from different sources on the same screen and being able to really easily rank and sort. So we're just beginning to use Mr. Elmer for that. And then crafting the schedules is a very important part of our system. Our schedules are important in many ways because we want our students to have a full Tier 1 experience. We truly are committed to Tier 2 being an additional layer. So most of our students are pulled after lunch and after school. So as you can see from our SOAR schedules, our SOAR teachers don't come in until morning recess time. So they're not there to start the day with us, but they continue to work with students after the school day ends. So our groups that are before lunch are 6 groups, and those are groups at times where the whole grade level is working on the SIPS curriculum. And so the students in SOAR are just going into a different group, but they're not missing anything in the Tier 1 program. And for our second priority in working on our schedules is that we don't want to waste 1 minute of our precious instructional time. The time for our students to learn and the time for these amazing teachers to work with the students is precious to us. So our schedule is designed around backing up groups to already existing transitions like recess, lunch. We also have the groups start and end at the same time, so there aren't kids walking around at random times, and we're able to say, hurry up, the group's starting, get over there. So we have the image of the airport there, because as you can imagine, working across kindergarten through 6th grade, different schedules, different students, and managing that schedule is really like running an airport. So we had to include that image for you. Now, our systems for communication and collaboration are critical within our SOAR system. We like to think of these as the fuel of our system. In our SOAR teacher's schedule, we've designated time already within their weekly schedule for a team meeting of just the SOAR teachers to do data analysis and planning for students. It's very common for us to look at the data and talk about students that we're not seeing quite respond to the instruction and how are we going to adjust and where do we go next. They are also part of our weekly staff collaboration with our entire staff. So on Wednesdays from 2 to 3 p.m., all of our teachers are either engaged in professional development or grade level team meetings, and our SOAR team is a part of that. So we're really excited that they are integrated into our staff. Our SOAR team also has a hand in our response to intervention team meeting with our special education staff, because there's times where we need to talk about adjusting a child's programming from Tier 2 to potentially thinking about Tier 3. And so we also have that connection in planning for student success team meetings with families. We have some online resources for communication and collaboration. The Haiku Power Learning site that we use within our district has been very helpful to us in housing all of our resources in one place with reference materials and agendas of our times together. And then the Mr. Elmer Intervention Compass program it's really been refreshing for us to be able to communicate online about a particular child within this secure format and not have to wait until our weekly team meeting to have that communication. We're able to share narrative, ask questions. There's a feature called Raise a Hand, and then our whole team gets the raise a hand, and we're able to schedule an additional progress monitoring assessment instantly if we need to. So this is a feature of the Elmer program, the Mr. Elmer program, that we found really helpful this year. We're able to actually put our SIPS mastery tests onto the Elmer system for each child. So we're able to review their data while still looking at the content of the test, because the numbers don't tell the whole story to us. And so being able to see that this student was able to master letter sounds and blending, but is still really struggling with sight words, is important for us to know in how we adjust and where we intensify for that child. We included a picture of our kindergarten team with our SOAR team, because this has been so helpful to us in SOAR that we rolled it out to our kindergarten teachers, and they are beginning to use it for all of our kindergarten students to be able to track by student. Another great feature of the Elmer program is we're able to put a tag in there to show which group the student is in. And the SOAR teachers can look at that student's data just by sorting for their particular group, their 155 group. They can go in there and look. And then we're able to also change as students maybe change groups or they don't need to be in a group anymore. We're able to have kind of a running flow of the documentation of who's in a group and when, and it carries forward in the future so we can see the history for that child. Our Tier 2 assessment system is something that we're really proud of and that we've worked really hard on over the last several years to refine our practices and become very diagnostic about our assessment for our students who are struggling. So all students have the benchmark and other tests that we have a full testing schedule for our students in Tier 1, and it includes the DIBELS benchmark. So I know at a meeting last month, you learned a little bit more, saw more about the DIBELS benchmark and giving that test 3 times a year as an indicator of how is the child developing with their literacy skills. Our Tier 2 progress monitoring is an additional layer for the students in our groups. So our students are given DIBELS progress monitoring assessments about every 2 weeks. We administer a DIBELS progress monitoring assessment, and it's very similar to the DIBELS benchmark assessment. It's similar in the way that we score it so that we can compare over time and track their progress. But it looks a little bit different because it's shorter. It's meant to be a more brief and frequent assessment of the student so that we can track progress over time. Our leveled literacy intervention program also has a progress monitoring tool that helps us really diagnose the type of comprehension skills that our students have in play and the strategies that they're using. And then with math, we use some formative assessments within the Bridges Intervention Program, as well as a lot of work samples and things that they're doing in the classroom. So here you can see this report comes from Illuminate, our main data system, and this is a 4th grade student, their progress monitoring data for this school year. And you can see in Dibbles, we're able to track in the different subtests the student's progress over time. On the right-hand side, you see a blue star. That's the target that we're trying to get the student to meet. That's the grade level literacy target as determined in Dibbles. And so as you can see, for this 4th grade student, this student is likely not going to be coming to the SOAR groups. We're really excited to see where this student is scoring. I can say that this student is in a level literacy intervention group, scored below grade level on the STAR reading at the beginning of the year, is an English learner who had an LPAC score last spring showing that reading is a need to target. And so this student was placed in the level literacy intervention program this year, and we can see the progress over the course of the year, and we can see on the blue trend line, which we want the student to reach and be above, this student is really doing a great job and really making gains to grade level. So one of the things that's especially powerful is looking at the retail quality, which is the 3rd graph down, and seeing where this student was in yellow and red, indicating below grade level, and then up into the green, and really staying in the green for a good amount of time. So we're really excited to show that, and we're able to run that for all of our students that are in our SOAR program. So our tiers 1 and 2 and 3 really work together for our school-wide achievement. And we've had strong achievement gains at KellyBrooke over the last 4 years. We've had more than 13% of a gain in students meeting and exceeding the grade level standard in language arts, and almost 20% in math. And our students are in the high 60% at the moment in meeting or exceeding. And that's great when we look at the state and county percentages that range between 38% and 58%. But it also gives us a sense of urgency because we're not done yet. We have a long way to go and a lot of work to do. And this amazing data shows us we're on a really promising path, but we need to be higher than that, and we're really committed to that work. Our staff seeing the growth is so motivating. Our parents seeing the growth is so motivating to keep us going, but we're really committed to being higher than that, and we really want to be at 100%. So showing you a different perspective with our California School Dashboard on the California Department of Education website. I'm sure Mr. Knights has given you some orientation to these dashboards with our data. But it's exciting to see that we want our students, our school, and our subgroups to be in the green and blue. And so for English Language Arts, our school and all of our subgroups are in the green and blue. We're very excited. They are all within the high and very high levels of achievement statewide, and either maintained, increased, or increased significantly. So this next one is the wow. Okay, this one's the wow.
That was pretty wow.
Sure, that was wow, and this one really is wow. So in math, it's really exciting to see that we're in the green and the blue with high and very high. And when you look over all the way to the right in the blue, we'll see our socioeconomically disadvantaged and Hispanic subgroups. And that's compelling evidence of our work, and we're making some gains in closing the achievement gap. So we're really excited about that. We do take time to look at specific data about SOAR and sharing that Our students who were not exited during the course of the year in leveled literacy intervention and stayed with us in diving into the data 24 weeks in, the average growth for our group of 33 students that were receiving that instruction, the average growth after 24 weeks was 9.15 months. So we were excited about the average growth because some students made a few years' growth. 61% of our students in those groups exceeded an expected growth rate. We're able to calculate a growth rate based on STAR scaled scores so that we can determine, are they making progress faster than we would expect a month by month? Because we need them to accelerate their progress. We need them to catch up. In our math intervention last year, we had some amazing gains in STAR math, which is very computational in nature. And our average growth was 19.8 months after the 24 weeks of intervention, and 92% of our students demonstrated an accelerated growth rate. So this year, we are hoping to replicate this and add on the gains that we're going to see in the conceptual and problem solving. In our Smarter Balance scores last year, that was the claim, the problem solving claim that we really saw we needed to do some work in. So we're gonna keep these results going and add on an additional layer. And we're pretty confident in looking at our Bridges unit test scores for our 5th graders and how that's going throughout the year that we're gonna get there. So taking us back, I hope that sharing with you from the site perspective and that boots on the ground description of what's happening within our intervention programs was really helpful. It really doesn't happen in a vacuum. So I would be remiss if I didn't share that there's a lot of district support systems that are working to help us to get these results at KellyBrooke. And in education services, it really starts with the leadership of Mr. Russell Lee Sung in really encouraging us to implement those sustainable systems of support for our students. Mr. Drake and Mrs. Gailey and Mrs. Leary have given us wide access to a lot of high quality professional development, helping with program development, and access to TOSA support that we need on our site. And then Mr. Knight's work with the Mr. Elmer program is really helping us have some additional tools to make our database decision making easier for us and faster. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening to talk about KellyBrooke, and I invite you to come and see it in action anytime that you'd like to. Thank you.
Oh. I'm expecting, there we go. I was going to say, I was expecting all sorts of lights. Mrs. Yelsey.
Yes, thank you so much. That was a great presentation, and obviously KellyBrooke is doing wonderful things. And I just want to say I appreciate you saying, even though you've had great increases and successes, that you're not done, because we sometimes look at these numbers and there'll be a 10 or 15% increase at some schools, and we'll go, oh, wow, but we're still low. And so I think that's our goal, is to get everybody to the top. So I appreciate that. And this is probably a question more for John, but you know, you talked about building teacher capacity, and it's obvious you're doing that at KellyBrooke. I want to know, like, how are we doing district-wide, and could other schools be standing here and giving a similar presentation that Lori is giving today?
Yes, I believe other schools can. As Lori said, a big piece of this is making sure that you have a system in place. The tools are the tools. The other thing that is critical is the support in instructional efficacy that's being provided. The one thing that Lori does an amazing job on, and I think it's modeled at other sites as well, is using, you heard her talk about using every precious second. Well, that includes those second on early releases. And you know, if you see Lori in September, she will tell you what's going to happen on every Wednesday from September through June. So it's also making sure that not only are these systems in place while the kids are there, but the systems of support to continue to build capacity are there as well.
Mrs. Fleur?
I'm still, because I've been to your campus, Lori, and I've seen this all in action, and it's fabulous. I mean, it's almost, she can give a high school presentation on master schedules.
I know.
I mean, it's like, oh my God, these kids are coming and going. I know that, how does it fit in when we're also trying to provide them the enrichment that we offer, the music, the PE? I mean, and how are the kids responding to, I see that you have an intervention class, the upper learning, the learning library is actually from 3:15 to 4 o'clock, so that's after school. So could you go a little bit into, I mean, you have extended the day. Parents, I'm sure, are really appreciative
Our
of that.
parents love
it.
They love it.
So could you go into a little bit of that, about how you've had the community has embraced the concept of extending the school day beyond what we would call the normal time, and how are those enhanced programs being able to be fit into this master schedule?
Okay, so I think I'm hearing you say two different questions. So our scheduling, back to the image of the airport, yes, we schedule our music, PE, science instruction, assemblies, and all kinds of enrichment activities as much as possible around our SOAR program. So if it's something that is an every week occurrence, like on the specialist schedule for music, that's never during that student's SOAR time. So it's very tricky when we're scheduling. And it is like a master schedule at a high school or college, I would almost say. It's tricky. Now, if it's a special thing, then we try to do most of those on Friday afternoons or Friday mornings. We have our SOAR program is Monday through Thursday. Okay. So we try as much as possible to do more of our special events for our students on Fridays so they're not missing their SOAR group. Now, the after-school piece has been great because when a student's in the after-school group, then we don't have to pull them during their school day at all. So even if they're not missing the bulk of the morning instruction, they're missing something when they come out to us in the SOAR program. So we've had a lot of parent support for that. We have a large group of students that are there anyway. They're in our Project Kids Connect program, they're in the ROCKS program. They are there, and those two programs have been wonderful in collaborating with us to have our students in the SOAR groups. And we also have parents that are happy to come pick up at 4 o'clock instead of 3:05. So it's actually like winning the lottery when you get into the 3:15 group. And then we have another teacher that teaches later than that as well. So we run our groups until 4:45. Okay. And it's just maximizing the instructional day for our students.
Great, thank you.
I personally appreciated being a site principal. I appreciated you telling us, last year we did this in math. It was not bad, but it wasn't what we were hoping for. We knew we could do better, and that you modified it this year. And I appreciate hearing the speed bumps, the struggles, because we have wonderful programs, and we usually only hear the fluff. And we know that there were bumps and rocks along the road, and it's so comforting and enlightening to hear. Here's how we problem solved through that as a team. And that's why children are doing so well, because you take the time to, A, recognize them and work through them. And I really appreciate that. I know we have to find our buttons. They moved our buttons. Mrs. Snell.
So I'm just wondering if you have an opportunity to collaborate with the other elementary teachers to talk about how you do this, and principals. Did I say? I'm sorry. Other
Yes.
principals. Okay, so you do have an opportunity to do that. And Mr. Drake said that other schools are doing this. Is it just Title I schools, or is it all schools that have this in place?
No, I would say all schools have this in place.
Have this in place
Yes,
in
all
some-
schools have systems in place to
Systems,
provide tiered support for kids.
Okay. Great presentation, Lori.
Wonderful.
Yes, it was really clear, and thank you.
Thank you so much.
I just wanted to add one thing. Lori's very humble, and I see Christine back there. Here you also have two leaders who provide the dissenting perspective on occasion. And that's very important for an organization that's going to grow, because, we can come up with great ideas on our own, but the best ideas always evolve when you have other voices involved. And there have been speed bumps, and Lori has stood up on principle, and so has Christine, when they said, no, that doesn't fit with what I know and what the research says, and has gone a different way, which is why you have the after-school program. She, was pursuing that, knowing that that was probably extending the day was going to be very helpful to her kids. So she's very humble, and she gave out a lot of, she praised those that are part of her district-wide team. But it's important for principals to have the courage and the knowledge to be able to say, that's not working, and we have to do something different. So she's helped us grow, not just what she's doing, but, she's helped her colleagues and the district make the right moves.
Bravo. Thank you so very much. And this is in keeping with an effort that the board has made this year in making sure that we provide to all of you delightful listeners, all four of you, that the most important thing we do in our district is educate children. So we want to make sure that our reports are reflecting that every board meeting we get some more input on what we're doing to educate the children. And I hope that some of you find some of this data fascinating, and others of you just can at least know that we're doing our jobs, and everyone out there on the district is doing their job too. Thank you. Community input on action items, Mrs. Black gets to read.
Oh.
Oh, I saw that, okay.
I'm sorry.
When we get to consent calendar.
The informational item.
It was on the back side, 17B. I circled it.
We don't have informational items.
I do have one, and I've asked the board president to share it with you.
Yes.
We're asking her to move one of the
17.
consent items to
17.
discussion action,
Thank you.
because it should be on discussion action.
Moving 17B3, which is the memorandum of understanding with the Orange County Human Relations Council, is being moved to discussion action. Thank you. I get many notes. You gave me a beautiful note, too.
We're on 15.
But we are on
Okay.
15.
Okay.
We're not on consent calendar.
Okay, so this is an opportunity for the public to address the board on action items.
Hold this thought. Informational item is done.
I just shared.
So, yes, the moving.
I keep reading or not?
Go
Okay.
for it. Sorry, my bad.
That's okay. I don't mind. Consent calendar resolution, consent calendar, no, wait a minute. Yeah. Sorry. Discussion action calendar per board policy 9323. Each individual speaker will have 3 minutes. Speakers may not cede unused minutes to other speakers, and there's a maximum of 20 minutes of comments per item. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public comments, depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to speak. The board staff or members of the public may request that a specific item on consent be moved to discussion action. Requests to move consent items must be received prior to the time the board takes action on the consent calendars. All comments are recorded in full on the meeting video record. When addressing the board, it is helpful if you state your name and address for the record.
And we have no cards. So moving right along, that gives us our superintendent's report.
No, wait.
Yes.
Okay. I did want to let you know that a lot of progress has been made on bringing the leadership of the Human Relations Council on board. I want to thank Dr. Bauermeister. He'll have a report for you later. But significant progress has been made on not only what we're going to be doing tomorrow night, which was really important, but also thinking about next steps, next meetings, also how the job description for those that are interested in the long-range task force committee will also be presented and sent out to everybody. And then what are some immediate first steps that we can take with our schools? And so some of those are in consideration. And after Wednesday's meeting, Dr. Baumeister will come back to Cabinet next week and make some recommendations on what can we do a first step with the community, what can we do first step in our schools, and how do we make sure all our schools are engaged, and how do we make sure we're engaging all of the marginalized groups in the community, so that it's not just a single issue project, it's a multi-issue project. And I just wanted to make you aware that when Dr. Baumeister comes up, he's going to have a lot of information for you. So I would recommend that if you have any questions at that point, that you can ask Dr. Baumeister and how and where we're going. But I believe he'll report that Human Relations Council has been very collaborative, and want to hear from the district and from the board when they come and make recommendations on what we're going to be doing.
Great.
Thank you. Consent calendar. Oops.
Excuse me, I'm really
one
very,
more.
yeah.
I have one more.
Oh, but wait, there's
I'm sorry, I'm not done yet.
All right, good.
My bad.
Yeah, sorry. So I'm giving you a draft of the district priorities, okay? This is the first draft. I want the public to know that you're not making a decision tonight, that at the next meeting, after I get input from you, and hopefully you'll provide that input to the board president, that we come up with a second draft that we will publish for your next meeting, and that you'll have on your discussion action calendar to discuss and approve or make any changes. So just know that this is the draft, and I know that Mrs. Fleur made one recommendation that I missed. I couldn't read my note writing, so I'm sure that I'm going to hear from Mrs. Fleur about one item that she wants me to change. So, but feel free to look at it and think about it, and then we can provide a copy to the community before your next meeting so that they're ready to make any comments during the discussion action if they'd like.
Great.
Okay?
Done.
Now I'm done.
Okay. So now I have a couple. Mrs. Snell.
I just wanted to, your first thing you addressed, the Human Relations Committee. I think I've made a few people aware of this. I really believe that task force should be a partnership with the city of Costa Mesa and the city of Newport Beach. I believe, obviously, the curriculum, the things we do internally are with suggestions, our decision. But this issue, I think, since it involves the entire community, should be a joint venture. And so I know that some of the council members are going to come to the meeting, but I'm not sure that they're clear on what their role is, if they're a part of it, if they're just watching. And so I'd like to make some kind of, not decision tonight, but at that meeting, discuss the possibility of it being a much bigger task force.
So first of all, I don't want to steal Kirk's thunder, okay?
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I will just give you a quick little response to that, okay? And the quick little response is that already Human Relations Council has talked to Kirk about some of the first trainings being community trainings and partnering with the cities, okay? So that's one example. The other example is that he did reach out to the mayors to invite them. But remember, we're not denying anybody an opportunity to be part of the task force. So it's an open invitation for anyone who's really committed and interested. So this is available to any council member, any citizen, or any parent that's interested in being part of the solution for us.
Okay.
So part of the open-ended is y'all come. And,
Yes.
and part of this, and it's almost a self-selection process. So I don't want to steal any more Kirk's thunder, but I just wanted to give a quick response to
He
that.
doesn't mind.
Thank you.
When is Kirk talking about that tonight, or? Oh,
He's got a discussion action item, so I'm hoping you discuss.
We moved it to 17, we moved 17B3 to discussion action.
It was moved to discussion action, so I'm hoping he discusses.
great.
Miss Anderson, you had a light.
Yeah, so that, I mean, I agree. And I also feel, I want us, as part of the discussion, perhaps maybe that's the time, but that to figure out a context that maybe the way that a task force is set up is not the best for this specific item. If we're having city council people, if we're having it a more open, transparent process. So when we're discussing it, that's something for me that I think is important, that a task force for me I feel like it may not be the right context for this.
Okay. Mrs. Fleur.
Well, Dr. Navarro, because I'm switching back to what was actually on here.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
That's okay.
That one.
And only, I mean, I appreciate this first draft. I do want to make a couple of comments. One is, and it was brought because Kurt brought it up at the Zone Pack meeting at Corona Del Mar about the Human Relations Task Force and wanting to ensure that we have safe and respectful schools. And I thought the word respectful was really, really a critical word that we should have all, it should be embraced in everything we do, and we have that in one of our goals has always been safe, attractive, functional, and contemporary facilities, but that may be some word that you may want to consider as well as in that is the.
So, Mrs. Flor, I also thought about that, but I didn't want to put it down because I wanted you to discuss it. So I actually think you should look at community, and maybe we have a new bullet under community, or we modify one of the bullets there. So if you don't mind wordsmithing something and maybe taking a current bullet and submitting that to me, that would be great.
And my second question goes to the process by which we've, over the years, developed the priorities. Going back a long time, we had 1,000 people in the strategic plan. We had the cast of thousands at Estancia High School be really engaged in the vision, the beliefs, and really working towards that, the strategic plan, and that, out of that outcome came
When was that?
priorities. That was, you were
2003.
12. You were 12. Sorry.
I'm like, I haven't heard of that happening in quite a while, so.
2003.
2003, it was 2003, and before that, it was led by. Yeah, and it was a very organic process, but it allowed.
Huge
It was
process.
huge, but it allowed the community really to be engaged at a much deeper level in terms of those priorities and looking at it from the vision. Since then, it sort of has been continued to be collapsed into smaller and smaller groups of individuals to now where we have the principals looking at it, we have district administration, senior staff, board has those priorities, and so we've sort of massaged them over the course. And I think that that's great. I would like an opportunity for the community, or figure out a way for the community to weigh in on, do they think that these are important? Are these, all of these, the priorities that they want to focus? Because there are a ton of them. And when we have so many, it's like, how can you do all of them really well? And so I'm just having an issue with how many there are, and in terms of weighing in and really which ones are of the highest priority, and you've got the first one as the goal, as all students. But I would like to know whether it's through.
So as we.
Thought process, the thought exchange.
Yeah, so.
That there's a mechanism for the community, our parents and stakeholders and others, that can weigh in on and have some conversation about this so that we are taking those, because that's our job, is to take the aspirations and the thoughts of the community and translate it sort of into action and vision. So that's just my.
So that's
wanna get into
something we can do for next year, for sure. We can plan it early and start in the fall. But I want to remind you that your priorities are only the ones that are numbered, and all the others are sub-objectives. So you really have five academic priorities. You have 5 academic priorities, 3
I know.
behavior, and a couple
Still a lot.
community. And really, what their goal is to make sure our resources are put in the right place. And so it's not only just an instructional or community decision, it's also where's our money going? Because when it comes down to it and you have to make hard choices, we have to look at this list and say, okay, so what are we going to do? Yeah, but no, that's absolutely, that will take some planning, and we can plan something like that, and we probably could use thought exchange for that. But it will be probably a 2 or 3 step process, because you can't put all the questions out on a thought exchange. Yeah.
I would just.
Yeah, but no, we have a tool.
something that-
We have a tool we can do that with now, and we just need to work on and plan it out and provide and make sure we do it right.
Good point. Mrs. Snell?
I'm just weighing in on, I like the bullet points, because if you just put this statement out, like A1, it's great, but it really doesn't tell you what it is. It's just so, so the bullet points add some meat to it, so we know exactly what we're doing. Now, are we supposed to be discussing this now? Okay.
No, because you're not taking
I was
action.
confused.
So
Okay,
these
'cause
are clarifying questions
Okay, so I should send my suggestions
to the board president.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And just to remind you that the sub-bullets came out because that was exactly the point. The board said, well, what does this mean?
Isn't that special?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
If I might add quickly, on the website, it still has 2017-18.
I know it does. We sort of skipped 2018, 19, and believe me, that was part of the discussion Dr. Navarro and I had.
Right here, on there.
That it wasn't,
It wasn't formalized.
It wasn't formalized.
We had
priorities and
them.
we were working on them, but we
Yeah.
never formally.
Exactly,
They're
so we
the
never
same
published them.
priorities,
Yeah.
though.
Exactly.
We didn't
Yes, they were
change
the
them.
same.
They didn't change. We just didn't change the date.
No, but it really looks better to anyone looking at it that we're doing current ones. I understand and I agree with. But we can go moving right on to this. Okay, now we can move to the consent calendar. I need
Move approval of the consent calendar as amended.
Second.
Mrs. Yelsey seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
I'm waiting. I'm pretending I see your light.
Turn your light on.
Miss Anderson, that's okay. Nobody records it. I could see your mind turning from here.
I think you wanted
Well, I didn't get my-
17A5, is that what you
Yeah, I
wanted?
didn't get my question.
It's 17A5.
Yeah, so I would like to pull off 17A5, the approving the amendment between the City of Newport Beach. It was my understanding it was the City of the PD and Newport-Mesa Unified. I would like to have further discussion around that. I felt like there were some questions that I had about the contract, and I'm not comfortable voting on that.
Pull to discussion or pull to discussion so you can get some questions answered?
No, I mean, I don't think we need
Voting
to
on it
talk
tonight.
with them before.
I think it would be helpful, I don't know if you read the response I got. I think it would be helpful to, because I had a question about that, to summarize exactly what Amendment 1 is.
Yes.
It's not, it's just on one issue.
Yeah, it's one issue. So what we want to make sure is that we protect student data privacy, and that's the goal of this amendment, is we don't want, and our SROs are great, they work with us, but they shouldn't be using our data system with our student information to conduct any city investigations. So they should keep it separate. That's basically the line there.
Yeah.
And so, so we have an agreement that they'll use our part of this is agreement so that when they're working with us, they can use our student information system and do the work they need to do for our investigations. But there's a definite line between that and the other work they do for the city. and their responsibilities there. And I can go into, a long explanation of some other details, but that would have to, I'd be happy to sit with you, Board Member Ashley.
Yeah, I mean, for
Anderson.
me, I'm not comfortable voting yes on that at all. There's several pieces to it that I'm not comfortable with, not just the amendment.
But there's only one
So are we
change.
so is that a different day, or, I mean?
But there's only one piece. We've already approved the contract.
The contract was already approved. This is just an amendment to the contract we already approved. And as far as approving it again, or for the next round, that's the exact
When will that
appropriate
be?
time to do that.
That will be next year, when we get our contract from the city, because we always have to update the salary.
The other option is to sit down with Ashley and go over the entire contract, because I'm sure we could make amendments if we wanted.
We are making, this is our amendment.
If I may.
So we could make another one. We could
Yeah.
make another one if we wanted.
Yeah.
But this amendment
But
is
that's a
Well,
different-
as staff, we don't see any other needs right now for amendments, but I'd be happy to sit with
I have
Ms.
several
Anderson.
recommendations for amendments to this
If I
contract.
may interrupt, I have Ashley's email, and I think there's a couple of lack of information. One is that she's concerned about the drug sniffing dogs. That's a separate contract, and that's with
That's not with-
InterQuest, and that's not with the SROs. The SROs do not administer that program. I think that needs to be clarified. So the drug sniffing dogs is not an issue that we deal with. It's not in this contract, and it's not part of the contract.
Okay.
So that's one. And the second one was, and that had to do with sweeps and things like that. And then the other one that you mentioned was the high rate of juvenile arrests in Newport Beach compared to Costa Mesa.
And
I'm
every
not
other
sure
city in
that-
Orange County. Yeah.
And I'm not sure that as well is within the perusal, that's within the Newport Beach and the City of Costa Mesa Police Departments, and is not really involved in our SRO program, because we don't have a high amount of arrests on our campuses. There are very strict guidelines in terms of when we call the police in for arrests. And so I think that this contract is what we hire to provide safety for our students on our
Personal
campuses,
data,
on all our campuses, in terms of dealing with student discipline issues, or some
Right.
drug use on campus, or whatever it is on the campus. That may or may not lead to an arrest, but in rare cases does it because they work very closely with Phil DiAgostino, and also with our SARB process and truancy issues. That's basically, so I think that it would be a good idea to sit down with them and have a conversation with.
I'd be happy to
about that.
have a meeting with as many board members, no more than 3 at a time. But we can schedule that and go over the contract, and this is not the first, this is the first one. I know that Dr. Jocham is wanting to work with Costa Mesa to enter the same privacy agreement. And again, this goes back to that issue of privacy that we inherited from the state a couple years ago. And you remember how we've had problems with some of our vendors who don't want to sign off on our private, and we can't use those vendors. This is pretty much the same thing with the police department.
Yeah, I mean, so the reason why I asked, so for instance, 2.3, services, discretionary. City may, in the sole discretion of the officers or their supervisor, perform the following services: conduct patrol activities, conduct preliminary and follow-up investigations of crimes that are near the school. There's several pieces of it to me that I think they warrant more questions, and so that's why
Okay.
Okay,
I would
but
like it pulled off, because I don't want to vote for it.
Well, we can pull it off to the end and vote separately. I think that's what. No,
No, we know,
no,
but I'm supporting the
right.
the
so-
amendments.
And I understand that perfectly. Education can happen, I understand that perfectly. But we need to get this moving, because I'd like privacy to be happening right away.
Right. Yes.
So
I think
we can
that's more
take this
important.
particular one, put it at the end, we can vote on it separately. All
Great.
voices will be heard, and we can still do our job.
Beautiful, thank you.
You're welcome. When I get to the end, I'll be saying, okay, now where do I put this and how do we vote on it? Okay, so Mrs. Fleur, would you like to amend will you be willing to amend your consent minus?
I thought I did. I said I amended it.
Oh, as amended in the first
As,
place?
I've moved it to as amended, so,
Okay,
because
and-
you pulled something else off,
Yep,
too,
so we've got those two things. Okay,
Mhm.
and Mrs. Yelsey did that. We had discussion. Any more? Okay. To move, Ms. Anderson, I just want you to know that 17A5 isn't in this motion. It's, okay.
She knows.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay. Got it. Public hearing action calendar.
Yes,
Yay.
thank you.
Oh, wait, stop. Now I have to pull it to the end of the consent calendar, right? Thank you. Sorry, I'm just very proud that I self-corrected. Okay, we are now going to vote on item number 17A5.
Oh, good.
Do we have a motion to approve?
We just need to know where we are.
Yep.
So that-
17A5. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second?
Mrs. Yelsey approved, Mrs. Black seconded it. We've discussed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay, it's 6-1-0.
Yeah, I wonder, do you say aye or do you say no?
Nay.
Nay.
Nay. Oh,
Technically,
nay. Okay.
but
No, I voted aye. I just was a little late. That's why I got confused. Okay, so it's aye and nay. Okay,
it's
got it.
6-1-0, correct? Okay. Now we can move on to the public hearing. Thank you very much, Mrs.
Yes, absolutely. So tonight we bring forward for a public hearing and as well as asking the board to receive the initial proposal for the successor agreement for CSEA with Newport-Mesa Unified School District, which would begin our negotiations session with them. So as a successor, this 2019 will end our current contract with CSEA, and so now we are in the, we will begin negotiating for the next 3 years section. So that's why you will notice that on this proposal, that there are various articles, listed, and while the entire contract is open, these are the ones that CSEA has of particular interest in. And so, again, asking the board to open for public hearing and then to receive the proposal.
Okay.
Can I just ask a question of clarification?
Before I open
Do we have
it?
to have each one of them have to be opened and closed and
Yes.
then
Yes.
moved? Okay, I just wanted to make sure that that's
Okay.
that's the process.
I open the public hearing of the California School Employees Association, Chapter 18 initial proposal. Do we have any comments? I close the public hearing, and I'm going to say CSEA because it's so much easier and friendly.
Move to receive the California School Employees Association, Chapter 18 initial proposal for successor agreement to the Newport-Mesa Unified School District for negotiations commencing 2019.
I need,
Second.
I was waiting, and Mrs. Snell was doing everything.
I rarely second.
I know, but
let
I'm going to
them
give it to
fight
you
over
because you
it.
don't. Is there any
I
discussion?
wait for 33 seconds.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain. Okay, that was a 7-0. But wait, there's more.
There is more. Thank you. And so following that, we are presenting to you tonight Newport-Mesa Unified School District proposal for the successor agreement to CSEA Chapter 18 CBA. Again, this begins the process for us. You will notice that the articles of which the district is most interested in, while the whole contract is open, are listed and described. And so again, we ask you to hold the public hearing and then approve the proposal.
Okay. I hereby open the public hearing of the Newport-Mesa Unified School District's initial proposal.
Don't hit it again
For
hard.
successor, yeah, I want it. I'm going to break it this year. Successor agreement to the CSEA Association Chapter 18 for negotiations commencing 2019. Any comments here? Seeing no comments, I close the public hearing on said above. Do I have a motion for number 18B?
Go ahead.
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Snell moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Mrs. Flores seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? I forgot to ask for discussions. Does anyone want to say anything? Okay, good. All right. Discussion action calendar. Mr. Trader.
Oh, don't, okay, never mind.
So, this is 19A.
Yes.
Adopt,
Yes. Sorry.
sorry, I'm just coming to the party.
It's okay.
Adopt Resolution 180319. This is for remote deposit capture agreement. And what this is actually just a simple check reader that will be at the Transportation Department to help efficiently process the numerous checks that they receive every year.
You mean you don't take Venmo? Sorry.
I know, PayPal, right.
PayPal, Square.
Well, I had to say that's the very first time I've ever seen remote, and I was, thinking,
I thought it was.
okay, so are you going to be in Palm Springs, Italy? Where are you going to be making?
They're going to take a picture with their.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I was saying.
I understand what it is, but I couldn't resist because that's the first time I've ever seen that.
Because
on
I
our
found out that
consent.
Farmers and Merchants Bank doesn't let you take pictures, by the way.
They
so-
don't, yeah.
I know. Do we have a motion to adopt the resolution?
Move to approve.
Second.
It was moved by Mrs. Black and seconded by Mrs. Yelsey. Any discussion? Roll call vote, Ms. Snyder.
Ms. Metoyer?
Yes.
Ms. Fleur?
Yes.
Ms. Black?
Yes.
Ms. Yelsey?
Yes.
Ms. Bartow?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Ms. Snell?
Yes.
Okay, that was 7-0. We already took care of 19B.
Yay.
Yeah, I know, that was a good one. So we're moving right along to 19C. Miss Gailey, come on
Move
down.
to approve the local. I think I've read it enough. I mean, I have total confidence in Ms. Gailey.
What Mrs. Snell said is wonderful. President Metoyer and members of the board, Dr. Navarro and cabinet, I'm here to briefly share with you, as opposed to the last presentation I did, briefly share with you the highlights of the LCAP federal addendum. I'm very excited to bring this document for you. It's a current year document, and it's a complement and a supplement to the LCAP. And so moving forward, every district in the state that accepts federal funds will present both the LCAP and the LCAP federal addendum at the same time. And what's important to know is that we already have these actions going on, so this current plan is for current year, and essentially what we're doing is preparing it a little early and capturing what we're doing with the format that's required by the state in preparation for federal program monitoring. And our program monitoring window is June, but our document submission occurs in May. So we're getting all of our ducks in a row and getting those things prepared. When we bring the LCAP to you in June, you will see the 1920 version, which will look very similar with, however, a number of changes to Title IV, because as you noticed in our current plan, we're in a planning year, and so you'll see the things that we're planning for the three categories in Title IV. Something else to know is that we produce regularly a shortened version of the basic highlights of what do we do in the LCAP, and so that was previously a 4-page document. It's now a 7-page document. So if anybody wants the quick version of the federal addendum, you can read pages 5 through 7, and the short version is posted on the LCAP page of our website, and it is in both English and Spanish. So our LCAP federal addendum is much shorter than the LCAP. It's only 29 pages, I believe. So we're only 29 pages, right? But
I know.
you know, compared to 320 something, it is a much shorter haul. We're pleased to be able to provide that shorter version. We find it very useful when we're working with our stakeholder groups and just as a general, introduction into what the plan is. But then we also have the longer version, which was attached to the board item. And then upon approval, we will be posting that in English and Spanish as well.
Move to approve the 2018-19 LCAP federal addendum dated 3/21/19.
Second.
127.
It was moved by Mrs. Black, seconded by Mrs. Snell. Any discussion? Oops, yes. Mrs. Flora.
And it's not really a discussion item, but it's just something.
Then you can't do it. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
It's just something that I think we need to really focus in on and have some further discussion. Is when we're looking at the data, listen, let me look at the page 12, 29. It's about the students with high discipline, the discipline rates in the school levels and all of that. And it talks about the 2018 dashboard, and it talks about what's in red, what's in orange. We have some significant issues, but, what does, and I know that there's probably data behind it, but when you see red in homeless students, I sure would like to know why those kids are, what's leading to a red suspension? Is it because they're tardy, they're truant, or is it, it just says red, and it just says it's increased by 3.7%. And the same thing with African American, students with disabilities. Although the percentage points have increased little by the number, in comparison to the number of students, it's 0.5 percentage points. It's at 4%, and there's 9,900 Hispanic students, for example, and they're orange. But then there's 2% of Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander, and there's only 103 kids, and so that's 2% sounds, that's pretty low, but that's a lot, that's lots when you're talking about 103 kids. And I just want to know how it's disaggregated. Is it, because I know we have to report that. We have to report our suspension rates based on, or our expulsion rates based on certain criteria. Well, yeah.
Sounds to me like you're hungry for a data dive.
Yeah.
So a much deeper analysis of the whys and the wherefores goes into the LCAP.
Okay.
And so when you have groups that are identified in red in particular, and in fact, this information about the homeless students is one of the reasons why our district is in a differentiated assistance status, which is not like program improvement. There are 14 districts in Orange County that are currently in this status. So the short answer is that one of the things you need to look at is the very small group size.
Yeah, right.
And with a small group size, a small fluctuation can lead to a red status. And that is one of the most common complaints, especially about the suspension indicator in the state. And so the difference of 2 suspensions could put you in this status. And something that's really important to recognize is, why are students being suspended? And I think that our district has done an exceptional job of really making sure that the suspendable offenses are things like drugs, things like violence, and things that really we want to suspend for the right reasons. And sometimes the students don't need to be with everybody else. But we also have restorative practices that we're really proud of to bring our kiddos right back onto campus and have them be welcome and part of the community. So I think that that's lost in this short version, but some of the pieces that we will explain more when we talk about the differentiated assistance and what goes into that. So
that would be great. And we can't explain it. There's no section that says,
there's,
the reason for this is
and I
because.
don't know that many more words on the page explain it very well either. So I think that
Okay.
it's probably a number of venues.
Thank you.
But I appreciate the question.
Any other discussion? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor to adopt, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? 7-0.
Thank you, too. I appreciate your
Thank
time.
you. And thank you for the time you took to give us some individual, small group data dives and explanations. It makes it so much easier when we all know what we're doing.
Good, thank you, thank you. Well, I appreciate you all taking a look at the 7-page document. I think everybody will really enjoy it.
Good.
Thank you. Now we're going to be.
She is just like Karen.
I know, I know. 17B3, approving the memorandum of understanding with the Orange County Human Relations Council for collaboration and formation of our task force. Dr. Bauermeister.
President Matoye, members of the board, Dr. Navarro, cabinet, and distinguished guests. A couple of weeks ago, 2 schools held community forums. After the last one, the board directed Dr. Navarro to create a human relations task force to create a greater level of cultural understanding and acceptance. Tonight, we're asking you to approve the MOU before you with the Orange County Human Relations Council, utilizing their trained mediators who specialize in building communities to foster respect, resolve conflict, and pursue equality. The OC Human Relations team will support us in building campus environments where students, staff, and parents feel safe, welcome, and respected. This is the work that they do. The OC Human Relations team and Newport-Mesa Unified School District will be working with other community partners, the ADL, the Newport-Mesa Irvine Interfaith Council, Trellis, the cities of Costa Mesa and Newport Beach, to name a few. Tomorrow night will be our first meeting, which will be a listening meeting to determine the issues and concerns most important to our community. The Orange County Human Relations team will help us to create a task force that will look at what we are currently doing, what things we can do immediately, and what long-term training is needed to create more safe and respectful schools. The task force will make recommendations to the board for action plans to address student, staff, and parent needs. In addition to the task force, which will meet twice a month, the OC Human Relations team will lead monthly community workshops to address the issues gleaned from tomorrow night's meeting. After the meeting tomorrow night, a job description and application form for the task force will be provided on the district website for members to apply to serve on the task force. In June, the task force will make recommendations to the board as action steps to implement, and will continue to meet in the fall to monitor the progress of the action steps recommended. As mentioned at the community meetings, we will need the support of our students, staff, parents, and the community at large to have the greatest impact. We will continue as a district and community to condemn hate in all forms and stand together in unity to work for safe and respectful schools. And now I'll take any questions you have about the task force.
I have one. I have two, actually. We had overflowing crowds at both of the community meetings. I agree that it's been a couple weeks since then. Do we have contingency plans in place if we have
Standing room only.
standing room only and more people than our Sanborn room, which holds over 100, but
140, yes, I never,
Oh,
I
thank you, I
intimately
knew.
know these things now.
yes, I'm sure, yes. Do we have plans in place?
Yes, we do. The overflow will be here in the boardroom. It has room for 140 chairs. We believe it can hold probably up to 160, and then we can fit another 80 in here. So we believe that those two spaces will be big enough to accommodate everybody that shows up.
And here we'll like have, it'll be reverse of what we do in a board meeting, and they'll
Correct.
be remote. Okay,
Yes.
perfect. And I'd like to address our board for a second. I think we really need a commitment to have, throughout this process, at least 3 board members attend. It does not have to be the same 3, but when we have community meetings and things like that, issues may come up that deal with policy, and we need to have a couple of us there, and it's always good to have someone, and I know I can't attend everything. I'll try, but I know I can't, so. Okay.
I would too. Yeah.
Okay, so we have
I can be an
Martha,
alternate.
Karen and Michelle and Martha.
I could be an
and-
alternate,
and-
but
Madam President, maybe I can help.
Sure, do
Okay,
that for me.
so this meeting is an open community meeting. You can all
We
go
can
to
all come
this.
to
You
this.
can all go to this. No, you can't.
No, she was talking
Yeah.
I'm talking about once the task force
Okay,
is
okay.
formed.
Yeah.
And there are monthly meetings and things like that.
Right.
We need a commitment.
Okay.
It's almost like coming up with a new committee. Yay, Mrs. Snyder, a new committee. And if I can just write down let's see, I had it.
We should have people from obviously Newport Beach and Costa Mesa
Exactly.
to start with, and then whatever is left. I mean,
May I make a suggestion on
and I-
that? Would you mind if I make a suggestion?
You can certainly make a suggestion.
Well, I think it's important that all 7 of us try and, at least, you want at least 3, but if we know that they're going to be monthly meetings, that if we can have a calendar and we just sign up for
good
the
idea. Are we
meetings
okay with
that
that?
we
I
want
think
to
that's a
attend,
great
and so we
idea.
make sure,
If they're open meetings, can anybody?
we can all
Yes.
go, but I think she wants to ensure
I
that
want to be
there's
ensured
at
that we
least-
have at least,
So once you have that,
That
we'll
would be
just get the
great.
list and we'll put our names, just like we do for some
I
of our
can
other
get you those
things.
dates. So there's 2 different tracks. There's one for the task force, which will be twice a month, and then there's monthly community workshops as well.
and
Do we know when those meetings are going to be yet?
Yes, we've set the dates. I
Okay.
can send that to you.
so send that to us, and then we can sign up, and it's more or less like, in fact, send them to Mrs. Snyder, send them out to us. We've already got the plan in place. We can get it together, and then we'll know who's going and who isn't going. It's important for us as well as important for the community that we have that there. Thank you for that. Mrs. Bartow.
And can you get us a copy in email form as well of what you just read, just because I took notes, but it'd just be better if I could refer back to it so I know what to calendarize for myself.
Sure.
Thank you.
Perfect. Mrs. Fleur, did you have more?
Yeah, I just have a couple, always. The task force itself, the expectation is not for us to be on it or have a member of the board on that because we want this to be truly independent. Is that correct?
Yes.
I mean,
I
there are,
thought so.
and let me put, so that there's no appoint, there are really, this is an application process that any community member, as long as that community member can commit to 2 meetings a month for approximately how long?
So the application process was suggested by the OC Human Relations, and the reason for the application is on the application, it will give the description so that they know what they're getting into. And they want people to know what the level of commitment is, what their expectations are, and so anybody that wants to be on the committee can be on the committee. And if they don't fill out the application and they show up to the meeting, we'll give them one so they can read the description. We just want to make sure that the people who are showing up know what's expected of them and the expectations are. But anybody can be on the committee.
But my understanding, my understanding was when you made the first presentation that it was, that they prefer to work with small, not 150, that the monthly meetings and this first initial meeting was for all, but that they prefer to, the Human Relations prefers to work with a smaller cohort because it's just easier to manage in terms of time and things like that.
So this is one of the beauty of the Orange County Human Relations. This is what they do. They create task force.
Okay.
And what they want is they want voices from the community. They want as many people that can be involved to give them information, and they want all the voices in the room. And so that's why they don't really set what the first meeting will be like until after the listening meeting to find out what the issues, what the concerns are, how many people they think they're going to be there, because now they have to craft the next agenda on what that will look like. So it really is kind of an organic process over what the issues and concerns are and how many people they think they're going to be there. While they may prefer smaller groups, they'll take what they get. And to have more students and have more parents and have more community members involved, to me, I think is a good thing.
I'd like to recommend that you keep your independence as much as possible because they will make recommendations to you and you will have to make the ultimate decision. So it's kind of like we don't want you to sit on an expulsion panel because you won't be able to vote on it. So I think it's important to, if you want to attend, that's fine. Everybody can go and they can all listen. You need to be informed, but when it comes to voting, you really need to be independent.
Got it.
Well, and that's why, that leads to my second question. The adjunct question was, an individual who goes to the meeting by virtue of being an official or something shouldn't have the expectation that they're automatically placed onto by virtue of their position. In other words, we shouldn't assume that we, as a board member, is automatically put onto the position, put on that task force. I mean, you've just clarified that, and I agree. I just want to make sure that.
What are you really saying?
I don't believe that we should be in the appointment process. I don't believe that
we aren't appointing.
I don't believe that we
aren't
should be,
appointing
or that-
anybody.
Okay. and so-
Anybody that shows up will be on the task force.
Anybody can go.
We're taking all people that want to be involved.
But basically, it's up to it's basically.
Again, the application process
just
is
a commitment.
because they want the people that are applying to understand what's expected of them. That's the only reason for it. And again, if somebody doesn't fill out an application and they show up, they won't be excluded from the meeting. It's just they would prefer the people coming kind of know what is expected of them. That's the only reason for it.
Mrs. Black, it's not your turn. Mrs. Black.
I was just going to, I kind of reached out to some board members that have utilized, and it's open. Everything is open until this meeting. They will explain everything, and they're going to see the input, and they do their homework. So we have, for us speculating in all of this, we have no idea what their recommendation is going to be. So, and that's the beauty of using this entity. So for me, I'm in total support of this, and I'll move to accept their MOU.
And that's good, except we're not done with discussion.
That's fine, you can discuss it if
And
I
then
get a
we'll
second.
get back for you to move.
Well, I need a second.
Oh, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, we're still discussing. Moved by
Thank you.
Mrs. Black, seconded by Mrs. Yelsey. Ms. Anderson?
Yeah, I agree with Dana. My concern is the formality of it. I mean, I really think that we are speculating as to like what the meeting will look like. And so if we really want to have a cross-section of people, if we're really trying to engage everyone that's marginalized, there could be people who are undocumented that are part of that. The word job application, which if it's public record, that will automatically right there shut off some of the people. I think the formalization of the process and calling it a task force, students are not, they're like, oh, I'm part of a task force. My recommendation is going to be put forward. And as we've seen with some of our other task force, people think that that is the decision made at that will be the predominant voice. So I'm just really concerned about some of the formality pieces. I agree with, like, I'm very excited about having them facilitate this. I just feel like we have too much structure when we don't really know what it's going to look like tomorrow. So
our whole
I am
thing-
concerned about that.
Okay, our whole thing, just so that
We
you know,
won't
the
know
sign-up
until
thing
tomorrow.
it'll be great, because we'll get the dates later, and then we'll know what we're signing up for. But just know that it would be good for us to be in attendance at whatever things are.
Yeah.
Well, and
I'm not talking
to
about
answer your
attendance.
question somewhat that's why they don't have a job description now. They'll wait till after the meeting tomorrow night. They'll listen to the people there, their issues and concerns. They'll look at the number of people there, and it is that organic process to come up with what the group wants. So that's why they wait till after that meeting to come up with what a job description would be
I mean,
for the
if,
task force.
if I'm a 17-year-old who felt like I was being racially targeted, I wouldn't necessarily feel like I'm going to fill out a job description. I'm going to fill out a job application for this. I'm qualified. It really, like, it sounds different than what it is. So I'm really, the terminology that we're using, I think, is a little intense. I think the task force piece of it, if we're having city council, if we're having people come, they're not going to be filling out a job application, even if they're dedicated to doing it. I think it's a
Not
little,
a job application.
It's not a job application.
that's what.
It's a commitment of your time. You raise your hand.
That you can
I
be
want
there
to be
twice a
there,
month.
then you're going to come. You don't have to come in with any
I get it,
skills
that in
other than your own.
Theory, in theory, but that's not what was part of the document, and that's not what Kirk was saying, so.
Well, I think we're
I think
we're
that's
ahead
what
of
you
the
said,
game.
wasn't
Yeah,
it?
we
So
need to go
they'll
in
come up with a
listen.
job description of what the duties are for the people on the task force.
The duties and responsibilities of what's
I have a suggestion. We can always ask, and this is a very sensitive organization. They're aware of all the issues you're bringing up, and they always have been. That's why they've been so successful in our schools and bringing about cultural sensitivity. But perhaps what we can ask them to do is just make an announcement that if you have any questions about this, if you feel like you want to join us without filling an official commitment to this, well, we just talk to us and we'll work it out. So we can ask Dr. Barmeister to go back and say, hey, can you just make sure everybody knows that if they're interested, they don't have to fill out anything. They just need to come and see Dr. Barmeister or maybe one of the staff members. We can ask them to do that.
That's
Does that
what,
work?
I mean, I just want it to be a less formalized.
Didn't you also say that anybody can just show up?
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Tomorrow.
No.
Tomorrow, we're to the first
Anytime.
task force
Yeah.
meeting.
These will never be closed meetings.
I think the point of this application, or whatever you decide to call it, the point is to get a commitment so that you don't have meetings where you have 4 people.
Or you have- yeah.
It's to get a commitment from a base number of people. And then, so I don't know how it's put out there, but maybe it's called, I don't know what it, but I'm sure they'll figure it out.
Now, I can share with you the example that the director gave us, and that's that they just finished putting together a task force in another district. It's about half our size. They got about 100 people at the first meeting. They ended up with a task force of about 25.
Yeah, that's usually.
And that was an open process. They didn't kick anybody off, and they accepted people whenever they wanted to come in and out. So they're very fluid. They're very fluid. All they want is people that are going to come consistently.
Exactly. They want a commitment.
But we'll ask them to make a statement that if, they feel uncomfortable, they can just come and speak to a staff member or to Dr. Bauermeister? They don't want to fill out a
maybe you
commitment form.
want to, commit to come two times a month, and maybe you just want to come when you want to come. Right?
Yep.
Like I do.
Absolutely. This is so new to a lot of us. We've done this before, so we're good. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? 7-0. Oh, thank you. Community input on non-agenda items, Mrs. Black.
Oh, okay. Do we have something? This is an opportunity for the public to address non-agenda topics within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board, per board policy 9323. Each individual speaker will have 3 minutes. Speakers may not cede unused minutes to other speakers, and there's a maximum of 20 minutes of comments per topic. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public comments depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to speak. In compliance with board policy and the Ralph M. Brown Act, the board is not permitted to take action on non-agenda items. When addressing the board is helpful if you state your name and address for the video record.
We have one comment card from Dr. Dowdy.
Oh, Dr. Dowdy. Can't hear.
So good evening, President Matoye, members of the board, Dr. Navarro, members of the cabinet and community, and hopefully we've got a lot of people watching at home because this is largely intended for members of the community. I'm Britt Dowdy. I'm president of the Newport-Mesa Federation of Teachers, and I'm also a vice president with the California Federation of Teachers. And what I'm wanting to speak about is related to charter school reform and a series of legislation that is going through the Assembly and Senate as we are here this evening. So just to be clear, NMFT and the CFT are not opposed to charter schools. We are opposed to bad charter schools like the Isaac application that was recently approved by the County Board of Education. And so what I'm asking tonight for persons that are listening is there are a series of bills. I'm going to give you some numbers. You may want to write these down. And we're asking for your support in contacting your legislators, either assembly members or state senators, and advocate for their passage. Also, for the members of our education community, advocate within your professional organizations for support. I know that that's going through the process with the various groups that we all represent. CFT does have a support position on all of these bills that I'm going to mention. So first is AB 1505, an O'Donnell bill for restoring local control, and so that applications can no longer bypass local districts and go to the county or state boards. AB 1506 is a McCarthy bill putting a cap on the number of charters. AB 1507 is a Smith bill so that students attending need to reside within the boundaries of the district. AB 1508 is a Bonta bill, which would allow districts like us to deny charters if they place a financial burden on a district, which is what was happening with the BADS application from Isaac. Rodriguez has a bill in process that's going to be looking at requiring participation in the state pension systems and mandatory payment to those pension systems in a certain mechanism so that bankruptcies don't negatively impact school districts and other LEAs. And also we want to celebrate SB 126, a LEVA bill that was signed earlier this month, which brought accountability and transparency to charter schools, and the Charter Schools Association supported that bill. So we're hopeful that a wide variety of persons are able to support these pieces of legislation. There are several different types of support CFT is giving. On April 10th during spring break, we have 8 members of our members that are giving up time at spring break to go to Sacramento to help lobby. The invitation is out for any of you that are able to attend. Following that on Friday the 12th, we're going to do some local advocacy at home offices here, and we'd like to have a small network of PTA, CSEA, administrators, and school board members to participate. Thank you.
Thank you. May I ask Dr. Dowdy a question? The only thing was on the state pension one, it doesn't have a number yet?
Not to my
Okay.
knowledge.
I don't think it's.
Thank you. That's why I just wanted to thank you very much.
Can I ask another one?
Sure.
I know that
Not
we,
supposed to,
I
but go
mean,
ahead. Yes,
CSBA has the same thing, but do you have, we send out alerts, and so that all we have to do is push a button and we can put our name in and it gets, is there anything on your website that has that ability so that a community member who is not necessarily an MFT member or a CFT member, but can actually find it and push the, support button and put their name in and it goes to the right legislator?
So we do not, and NMFT do not have that capacity. I will check with CFT if
Okay.
we have it, and if we
Great.
do, we will try to post on our website.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to just comment on the state pension issue. It's not well known, but some charters who do pay into the pension program have been known to release teachers that are earning more pension. And they've released them back to the district where they originally started so that the district inherits the cost. And so this is a very, very important piece. People don't recognize the importance of the financial implications of this. So, they'll hire a young teacher, and then when they start paying too much in pension, they'll release them, and they'll send them back to their district, and then the district has to incur the cost.
So a charter school teacher that lies within a school district earns tenure?
They may already have tenure and then take a leave
Oh,
to be
okay.
in the charter school.
Okay, I can handle that one. I was just like, whoa, one more slap. Okay, perfect. Thank you, community. Board member reports. Let's start in the middle, Ms. Bartow.
Okay. So I've attended a couple of interesting meetings. One was the spring symposium for locally funded community-funded schools, and some of the legislative items they spoke about, Dr. Dowdy already spoke about, specifically AB 1505, which is really important for community-funded school districts in particular. I also attended the early childhood learning session, which was great. It's a passion of mine. I feel if you can start off on the right foot, you can see those benefits into high school and adulthood. It was really interesting because it was probably the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, that a lot of the local preschools had met together as a group instead of competing, along with our district preschool, and it was a good learning session for all, and I think it's going to be a good piece moving forward. And that is it.
Mrs. Yelsey.
The other way.
Well, today there was a mental health task force, which Ms. Anderson and I serve on, but we were not notified, but I kind of had heard about it, so I got to the second half of it. And they did talk, it's a really great working group throughout the district of counselors, social workers, parents, community members. Anyway, they gave an update on risk and threat assessment, and they went through the Healthy Kids survey that was done, and they got feedback from everybody, which was great. And obviously, we're focusing, I think it's great, throughout the district. It seems like every school individually is focusing on mental health as well. At CDM last week, there was a program that the PTA put on at night for drug addiction. And it was put on by a friend of mine who I brought to the district several years ago, and it took a long time for her to get traction. She tried to get in a lot of our schools, Jody Barber, whose son had passed away from a drug overdose in 2010. And she's been on a mission ever since to not let that happen. And she's a real advocate in Orange County especially, but throughout the country she goes. She's been in front of Congress to lobby about especially opioid addiction and prescription drugs. And so it was great. She showed her film Overtaken, which I had also talked about at a meeting before then. But she also brought 2 recovered addicts with her. One grew up in Corona Del Mar. He went to Santa Margarita. He didn't go to our schools, but he grew up on, as he said, Ocean and Carnation. And he knows everything about this area, and he talked about his drug addiction. He then became a reporter for KCAL and actually walked out in the parking lot one day to get his cocaine fixed and was in a coma for 2 weeks and walked out and went to he never went to drug rehab. He just on his own went to rehab to AA, and he's been sober for 9 years. But he moved back here from Phoenix to get to his roots, and he wrote a book that I think is being published this spring. But he was so impactful because the room had probably 200 parents in there, which at night is a tough thing to get parents to come out. And they were all riveted to this presentation because I think people in our community are starting to have more of an awareness that it's not just something that happens other places. It happens here, whether it's suicide or drug addiction. And I get this moment that it's an aha moment that, yeah, it could be my kids. So they're concerned and they want to learn about it, which I think is a great step in education for our parents. So I was really pleased with that. And then the following day at the Civic Center, this was independent, the Patrick Turner Foundation, which was set up by Patrick Turner's parents, and they presented a program on mental health. And they had people from Aspire, Daniel Patterson was there, they had a psychiatrist there, Jerry Weichman was there, and it was a panel, which was also a room full of people, and I think a lot of them were probably elementary school parents who were there, who are starting to connect into this. So I think all of this happening in our community are really great things to see. And then I was at Newport Coast, totally different subject, for their flag deck last week, where they had a slime challenge, and they slimed Mrs. Figueroa and Principal McCormick in preparation for their STEAM night, which is tomorrow night. I think from 4:30 to 8, and they have they plan this throughout the year. So it's a great program if anybody has time to stop by there from 4:30 to 8 at Newport Coast tomorrow. Thursday. Wait.
It's Thursday.
Thursday, I'm sorry. Tomorrow is our thing here.
Tomorrow's
Yeah. I'm sorry, it's Thursday, the 8th. And then they also had Scott Burnett, who has been to, many of our schools, talking about internet safety. He was there talking about it, I think, the day before. He had been at Pomona. And he does a really great program for elementary parents. I mean, some of the things you learn there about controls you can put on your kids' devices is pretty amazing. And they change all the time. That's why he has a job that he comes back every year. So that was, yeah.
I have to chime in. He said, I told my daughter, I said, well, this expert, who also has, I think, 2 daughters.
A daughter and a son.
Daughter and a son, okay, suggested that they don't receive a cell phone till they're 13.
Well, he talked about his daughter and his son and his wife, because he has a tracking device where he can see where everybody is all the time. And during the presentation, he goes, let's see where my wife is right now.
Life 360, that's what it's called.
No, this is a different one.
I know, that'd be great.
It's Friends. Isn't it called Friends? Because my brother tracks me.
Life 360.
Find your friends.
Find friends, yeah.
There's lots.
Yeah.
My son won't let me.
I don't know about that.
For those schools looking for a speaker, he's a good one.
He's a good one, yeah.
Okay, Mrs. Black.
Okay, well, speaking of mental health, we had at 2 of the committees that I serve on, one for our DLAC, we had a great presentation, and I know we're all getting it, but I brought you a presentation packet, so if you want some information, this is what we were giving out. And our DLAC parents were just really appreciative. I mean, it was so nice to have that. And then we also did our federal amendment, but we also talked about in groups with each, and Ashley was with me as well. We broke up into groups and had some questions asked, and then the parents came together collectively and put their top priorities on poster paper. And so they're anxious to find out what the top priorities are going to be. They're already asking the question. do we know what that's going to be? So it was very positive, and that group is so dedicated. I mean, we, even when there's lots of different functions going on, usually I measure whether there's a group in the audience, like what's on TV. I don't watch regular TV, so I have no idea. But usually, about 8:15, everybody leaves. This group stays, and they committed to doing, and I mean, really terrific. And their number one thing is, how can we get more of our peer parents involved? Because they appreciate so much what our district does and, educates them. And so they're asking the age-old question that we're all still trying to figure out: how do we get everyone there? So they're going to be working on that on a sidebar. And then the other is our student advisory, which is a meeting we meet once a month or maybe more often. And I am very lucky to be able at 7:30, 7:45 in the morning once a month with high schoolers who actually are on time, and they feed us. They all, each school is hosting us. We come together, and so they're working on the same type of thing. I think, they're trying to come up with. We had a lot more conversation about, the students at the party, and that kind of triggered, a lot of conversation. And so we'll be coming back, and Dr. D'Agostino will bring back some feedback from them, and then we'll have more of a focus. But we're already into April, so, but they all appreciate as well coming together and giving, having their input. And we have to coax them out, or at least I do. I have to coax them out and say, really and truly, this is not just for fun. We really want to hear it. And so it usually takes February, March, April for them to believe us and then start to really participate. But I did get, and I promised that I would mention it tonight, from several, 3 high schools in particular, but board members approached me and sent me a letter. I'll be sending it to Dr. Navarro. But in a nutshell, they said, my parents, I can't afford tutors. And when we're getting ready for, the end of the years, the AP or the tests, we don't have the luxury of being able to have a tutor. And so they would like to recommend that our district consider working with our teachers to have an overview when they get time to come, when time comes when they're studying and stuff, that their teacher, because that's who they are learning. And they kept pressing that was so important, that their teacher go over some of the challenging times, curriculum that they're maybe struggling with. And not every day, not every class, but they want is just a shot at it, because they said the gap is widening for people that can afford a tutor or that, can't. And then they respect their teachers so much. And then they know that those are the people that they're learning from. So anyway, and I said, well, that's a big ask, but I think, there's a lot of teachers that already offer that at different times, at least, I know my son's had some great teachers that. So, but I don't know that they feel comfortable asking that question. So I think it is really important, and I'll work with Dr. D'Agostino so that we can at least address, the students in a proper way, and then maybe, and they're not seniors, so they're going to be 11th graders.
Are they talking about SAT, ACT, or AP
They're talking about
tests?
their own classes where they're learning now. They have quick overviews, but for the most part, in their experience now, students are going to tutors. So there really isn't,
I think there's a lot of teachers, though.
I do too. I mean,
I know
For AP classes.
Costa Mesa
who
High
spend-
School has
Corona Del Mar,
tutors.
the AP teachers.
Free
spend
tutors.
a lot
Well,
of
and I
time.
had 2 kids from Corona Del Mar asking that question.
Well, they spend a lot of time. They have night sessions.
I know. That's
And it
what I
may not
said.
be able to be their teacher, but I can understand wanting their teacher.
Well, maybe it's just as simple as, getting the information
There
to
you
the
go.
student. But they were very articulate, and I'll send it to everyone.
Okay.
Because I think it was really, for them to pull together a spokesperson, text me 14 texts, that I think it's important that, that we respond to them, or at least help them figure it out, okay?
Mrs. Snell hit the student rep button. So,
Oh,
yes, the student rep button. So I was going to talk to our student representative who was gone home, but yes, it's the student rep button does work.
Anyway,
We got it fixed.
I do know that but they may think it's for, charge, or that there's some kind of, service charge, but I think we need to clarify it, but we were really excited to have something, come up. And they didn't mention it in the meeting, so that was another clue for me that, okay, so why didn't you had plenty of time to discuss this, why didn't you not discuss it in our actual committee meeting? And so I haven't got a response back, but I did text back and asking, how come, are you not comfortable with it? I just want to make sure that we make them comfortable in that. And then tomorrow night, I won't be at the OC Human Relations, so I expect a report. And because I will be at the Newport Harbor Zone, their
Good.
musical, yeah. I think it's important, for, at least because it's in my zone, I think it's time to be there.
I think so too. I think that's great.
Thank you.
Mrs. Fleur.
Oh, a couple of things. One is, I believe this is the fourth year we'll have our first graduating class of academy graduates that have gone through 4 years of academies.
Oh,
Of our students, of the
told them
global.
to save their kids.
So I think it's important, one, because the Academy of Global Studies just got back from South Africa. And taking a look at, they have the Thirst Project, and they raised over $60,000. And a group of those students traveled to South Africa to inspect the wells because they installed, I think, 20 wells in that country. So I would really like to have them come and make a presentation. It seems absolutely amazing. It was life-changing, not only for the communities, but for these kids. And many of them have changed their focus in terms of what they want to do in their careers. And again, this is the graduating class. This is the first year of a full 4 years of an academy program. So I would like to request that we have a presentation from the Thirst Project. So that's one. I want to thank Sarah for meeting with, there's 3 of us board members who voiced some concerns that we were hearing from the community regarding parents and just the communication in the process of requesting an IEP or an SST and getting some pushback. Really appreciate that, and Sarah's going to be coming back and having some conversations, and we'll see what we can come up with that. Zone Pack was terrific. Thank you very much for John and Russell. And Katie Maloof was there as a guest, and she's from Newport Harbor, and they're looking at reinstituting. We used to have these. Remember way back when, we used to have Zone Pack meetings in each one of our zones. The principals and the PTA presidents used to meet on a regular basis so that everyone kept on, there was.
And Corona Del Mar did it all along.
All along, and it was a wonderful way of an opportunity of having some collaboration, some squelching of rumors in some respects, some sharing of information about different speakers, and so I hope that gets back. Just to let you all know that this is open house season, so if you're a parent and thinking about enrolling your student in schools, I hope that we're putting all the open houses on our website so that they can check. And thanks to Corona Del Mar and Costa Mesa, they both changed their schedules, their open house meetings, so that those families can attend the Human Relations tomorrow night. Great events. We had the Spirit Run. Thank you, Diane DeRudy and team. Another wonderful, wonderful, wonderful event. And then finally, I will bring it up again, 2 things. One is student board members. I keep asking, we keep talking about it, and now we've missed the deadline again because they're now doing the appointments again. So Mrs. Snell's concept of having it a little bit more formalized process with some greater duties, some greater education, is still, we're lost another year, basically. So that's one.
That's because there's so much enthusiasm.
And
for it.
and the last one is, it's something that we did years ago, and I feel like I'm becoming Mrs. Franco. So it's like, oh, God. We held what was called a parent university, and it was in conjunction with, and I think many of you may have remembered it. I know you were here. I think Kurt were here. It was held in conjunction with the PTA. It was held on a Saturday and part of a Sunday, in which we had multiple sessions about a variety of different topics, and parents could come. There wasn't a fee involved, but they could come and take a class. They could take it on nutrition, how to get your kid into college. They could, it was broken into about four sessions, or three, whatever, during the day. It was held at Newport Harbor High School because at that time it was the largest. And it was an opportunity. And when I hear all of these wonderful programs that are being offered at schools, like Scott Barnett, like Julie Barber, like these programs, and then the PTA is doing the one every month, sometimes parents just can't get out during the week, but maybe they can make it on a Saturday or possibly a Sunday, and call it a parent university, and it's getting out that information and letting themselves select the classes and offering a wide variety, and we used to have one on nutrition. What was the great good healthy snacks or whatever. And I just would like to explore that concept again. I know that in a number of school districts around the state, as well as we visited some in Arizona, that used a lot of Title I funds in terms of, they did use some Title I funds to help support that program like that. And so it's just another idea that I would love to be able to explore and see what we can do with it. Anyway, that's my report.
Mrs. Snell.
No report.
Ms. Anderson.
I just have a short report. I also attended the meeting on Friday that connected the preschool leaders, which I'm really excited about. And then a follow-up to that was on Monday morning, bright and early, several of us, some from Costa Mesa City Council, some from Melinda Hogue, got together as an early child, and Kathleen Leary and Michelle O'Neill, an early childhood coalition organizing around trying to figure out where the holes are in Newport-Mesa and our surrounding area in Orange County as well, and working together to build resilient families, quality early education, and comprehensive health, and then where that intersects with access, resources, and equity. And so we are going to be starting to meet monthly. So I'm really excited about that. And then on April 3rd, Ray is having its family Avid Night. And one of the things that came out of the DWAC meeting that was really cool was to see there were things that were being offered, and then one of the challenges, and one of the moms recommended having childcare for the school board meetings because we want to have more voices here. And so that was something, there's already childcare during DWAC, and the way that that is set up is wonderful. And so to even have that for our school board meetings, so people would be able to come and stay when their children are typically being put to bed. So that was something that they requested. So, and then also one of the things for the AP tests and for SATs, the Newport Beach Public Library does a great job with that. And so I'm actually working with friends of the Costa Mesa libraries that we can offer when the library opens up in Costa Mesa to have free SAT prep, free AP prep. So that's something that is in progress.
We're talking mostly about their teachers.
Right.
Yeah, they wanted, but they'll elaborate and we'll find out more about that.
Yeah, we also need, though, SAT prep and for all the AP. The Newport Beach Library does a great job. So that's it.
Okay, I had a couple things. The fun one was that I attended Newport Harbor, Costa Mesa High School's production of Legally Blonde, and I'm looking forward to some of the other ones. I have to check my calendar because I do love going to the student musicals.
Adam's Family is coming up.
Adam's Family's coming up, and the other two that we mentioned tonight, so I have to check my calendar, which was dutifully, joyfully provided to us by our teacher on special assignment, Scott Fitzpatrick. So
great.
We've got, he does this twice a year and sends
Great.
to the board and others a list of every musical activity, whether it be vocal or instrumental or theatrical. And it is the arts and any visual arts things. And it is just such a great thing to just get everything you can get to on your calendar. At least when something else comes up that bumps it off, we know that we tried to go or there was something available. So that was wonderful. On our rainy Haley, which didn't hit Costa Mesa Newport Beach, but I want to tell you how it hit Anaheim. When Jennifer was talking about playing in the rain, I left when it started drizzling because 4th District PTA was also having an administrator celebration where we won those awards, and it was very fun. Our table just, yes, we represented. And so I drove from Angel Stadium all the way to the Grove, which meant I drove through the parking lot from one side to the other side. And by the time I got there, it was pouring. I mean, it was like a cartoon zipper cloud opened up. It dumped all the water. It was almost like Mother Nature went, "Oh, Anaheim needed rain. We forgot the last 3 weeks. Let's give it to them in the next 20 minutes." So that Estancia did come out with that. But what a fabulous opportunity for our varsity football players to play in Angel Stadium. It's awesome. And baseball. Did I say football? But it would have been really fun to have the football players there. To have our varsity baseball players play in Angel Stadium. It was pretty impressive. So I enjoyed doing that. I was able to go to our local Rotary Club, and I know it's got a name and I never remember it. Sorry, Bob Kelly. And join the teachers.
Costa Mesa Rotary Club?
No, it wasn't.
it's Sunrise.
It's
the Sunrise?
It's the one, it's in Newport
Where?
Beach. It's local, it's our area.
No, it's
It's
different.
not Costa Mesa.
It's, yeah.
The word. I don't know what the name of it is. So bottom line was, they were celebrating the teachers that earned their grants. So it was really nice to join them and to watch our proud teachers say thank you for the grants that they were funded and how they were going to use those. Mrs. Snell, Miss Anderson, and I attended our local representative, Assemblywoman Cotty Petrie Norris, had a meet and greet, actually coffee with Cotty, a meet and greet at Fire Station Number 1. And it was a fairly well-attended event. And what was nice was to hear her say, "What can I do to help you? Let me know, please contact us." So the three of us said, "You bet, we will." So we did that. And then we are going into committees, and I just want to zip in the Chamber Committee while I've got the floor. The Les Miller Supper for Scholars dinner will be on May 16th, and it's going to be held at Volcom.
Oh, okay.
I know, I'm excited, a new venue. So it's May 16th. Official notification will come out as soon as they get the fancy flyer. Our next meeting is April 18th, so I'm hoping, I've notified Mr. Vossen, I'm hoping he will be there because there's an apprenticeship program that I would still like him to be cognizant of. And then that was that committee. Crop, Mrs. Floor?
Yes, we had our meeting, and we had a fabulous presentation from a student and teacher from Edison High School on, wait for it, agricultural aquaponics.
Oh, I know exactly
Now,
what
for
that is.
those of you that don't know, that's the growing and harvesting of food in the ocean or in the water. And they are actually breeding, growing, and harvesting tilapia, bass, as well as developing processes to develop the food, like the gravel stuff, the food that they, the algae and whatever not plankton, but the
Food that they
the
feed the
trees,
farm.
what are the little things that they grow on the seaweed? The seaweed and stuff. But the interesting thing that was fabulous was that they actually are, these kids are 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders, and they're literally designing the tanks, all of the gadgets through 3D printing, and they're also performing artificial insemination. on the fish.
A fish.
So they're practicing to come up with a great strain of tilapia. Fascinating, and it's part of their pathway, because they're one of the very few high schools, Edison, that has an agricultural program still going strong there. So, but it was like, oh my gosh. So anyway, that's my report. They are having a meeting on March 29th with all the superintendents, CBOs of the districts regarding a new funding model. There is concern. There's lots of bills going on. O'Donnell is such a great advocate, but it doesn't look like we're going to be able to offer summer school programs unless we can come for crop. So we're hoping that we're going to try and figure some things out, but it may be difficult with all the issues in the funding. So that's my report.
Do we have a Schools Foundation report, ladies?
They just were very happy with their event, and very happy with the new venue. Everybody liked it, and so now they're starting their planning on the breakfast, the
State of the Schools.
State of the Schools breakfast. So yeah, good job.
Because we need to have it ready in September. Dr. Navarro.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank Mr. Drake for the presentation on intervention today. It was extremely comprehensive, and I felt like I was listening to Professor Hogard, talking about how you really structure a system to meet the needs of kids. I also want to tell you that you noticed 2016, there's a significant reason that it was started in 2016, because that spring of 2016, we had a financial crunch. And we actually had to go out to schools and ask them to reduce funding. And it was not a popular decision. And it wasn't because it was reducing money. That wasn't the issue. It was because principals were getting to the point where they knew they needed to address the youngest and the neediest kids so they become literate and functional with math. And so after we had made that decision, we spoke with a few principals who were, strong enough. And we weren't at a point where they were feeling like they could voice their critiques as much as they do now. So it was a seminal moment in our development of being collaborative. But they came in and they talked about, why, what do we really need? And so I went back to the Ed Division, and I gotta give kudos to Mrs. Gailey, who listened, and they all listened, and from that was born the intervention program of how we put intervention teachers out. Vanessa was able to find the money. The district retooled what we needed to do to support it. And even just a couple years ago, Mr. Lee Sung was able to get some of that funding that was taken out originally from school site budgets that was either LCAP or federal funding, and got that finally backed in. So, that point that I was making about sharing a dissenting perspective would have never, that's what caused us to move in that direction. And we would have never made the great gains I think that we're making now if they hadn't have come up and said, hey, we really need to talk about this. This is not going to work for us. So just a little piece of why 2016 you started seeing the things start to shake out, because the team was able to fulfill a need at the schools. And and I think there's been some good guidance and some good conversations and a lot of good conflict that's gotten us to where we are right now.
Yes, I have a report. Yay. As you know, classified recruitments continue throughout the whole year. Certificated positions tend to be, they come in, I'm going to say, tidal waves. And so we're hitting our first one. Our ESY positions are posted, and at the same time, we've begun to recruit for 1920 already.
ESY?
Extended summer school, which is our special education program, and then next week we will post for the other programs as well. We stagger it. But for the recruitments for 1920, we are also going out to some of the local recruitment fairs. We've been at Biola, Cal State Fullerton, UCI. This Saturday, we will be going to USC and a few others. And we're targeting very particular groups, the hard to fills. We're looking for special education. We're looking for SLPs, speech language pathologists. We're looking for the sciences. So while we meet other great candidates and we would welcome their applications, we really do focus in on trying to connect and recruit those hard to fills. And with that, we just posted today actually some of our hard to fill. So our two-way immersion program for both Whittier and College Park have been posted. We are looking for SLPs already, as well as nurses. So 'tis the season. It has begun. So it's quite the bustle around HR right now. Thank you.
Excellent.
Well, similarly in business services, there's quite a lot going on, and especially in the facilities department where projects are getting ready to go to bid. We've been spending a lot of time at the Division of the State Architect, or I haven't, our staff has, getting projects approved by them so that they'd be ready to bid. Over the next 6 weeks or thereabouts, we'll be bidding a lot of projects, 7 air conditioning projects, as you know, going forward this summer, and sports field project and pool project. There's quite a bit going on, and we look forward to bringing you an update on all of those soon.
Mr. Trader.
True to your priority for enriching the community, you literally did that on March 20th. March 20th, you refinanced $32.9 million of general obligation bonds and saved the taxpayers here 7.31%. And that came to a total of over $2.5 million.
Yay.
So you did a wonderful job there, and it's good news.
We appreciate that, we taxpayers.
Okay. I'd like to provide an update in regards to our parent choice transfers for 2019-2020. We just finished our first round, which was from January 15th to March 15th, and notification to our families will go out on or before May 15th. So that's our first round. And then we have a second round of a window. And that runs from July 5th until August 2nd at 4 o'clock. And notification on that window will go out to families on August 12th. And then after that, we have a late wait list application process. Once we have conducted 2 rounds of parent choice transfer windows and lotteries associated, that late waitlist application process starts September 9th at 8 o'clock. So we have 3 kind of pieces to this, and we do value choice within the district, and we'll continue to meet our timelines and get notifications out to families and try to honor the requests that are being put in.
Dr. Sir, maybe in the summer you can come back with some numbers of how many applications were processed, how many placements were made, how many students were waitlisted, just so that the board can understand how popular it is to go through the choice program that we have.
Absolutely. Terry Russell is an amazing individual who does such a fantastic job with this, and we'd be very happy to provide you all of that information.
Okay.
To build on Dr. Navarro's, and I believe, Ms. Snell, you asked a question about principal collaboration, and a couple of things come to mind. Number one, Dr. Sir and several of the directors spend an enormous amount of time each month planning for the elementary principals meeting to make sure that those meetings are productive around collaboration and what's happening at sites. and as well as contributing to the decision-making process and providing that dissenting voice sometimes. But ultimately collectively coming together to build that program for all kids around first best instruction. Along the same lines, about 4 weeks ago, a group of us, several of the directors from Ed Services, several elementary principals, middle and high school principals started meeting per my request for about 2 hours a week to start really focusing on creating a really common professional vision around responsive instruction. Our meetings sometimes are around a research reading and what it means. We've gone and visited classrooms and debriefed afterwards. And it's just been a really exciting 2 hours because it's really what I'm asking people to do is take off their leader hat and put on their learning hat. Because with all of the professional development that our teachers are receiving around mathematics right now, it's going to be very important for principals to have a common vision. To support what's happening in the classroom. And so that's the work we're doing. I'm really excited also coming up this starting Sunday, going through Wednesday next week. I'm able to take a group of these principals and directors down to the National Conference for Supervisors of Mathematics in San Diego. And yes, they will be getting an email later this evening with reading and the itinerary for the week around that collaboration. But really exciting times.
Mr. Lee Sung. I'm just naming names. Your turn.
This week is Tsunami Preparedness Week.
That's right.
So I'd like to take this
Duck and cover
opportunity.
doesn't work.
So we have one school, Newport Elementary, who is in the tsunami zone. And so we took this opportunity to prepare a drill. So tomorrow at Newport Elementary, they will be performing a tsunami drill where they will evacuate and go to the local church as one of the scenarios that could be used in the event of a tsunami.
As in the church right next door.
Church right next door. Second floor. The other option, if there's more time, they would actually take the trek up to Newport Harbor High School. But we felt having all of the kids take a 2.5-mile trek might be a little too much for a drill, but that is one of the other scenarios. Materials were shared with parents, including a video of a crab telling kids all about tsunamis. And I give Kent Ramsayer credit for finding that video and sharing that with the parents. But Principal Amanda Strada is ready, the staff is ready. We're also taking advantage of this opportunity to practice our EOC here at the district. So part of the drill is not only taking place at the site, but it's also taking place here at the district office. And Lance, our director of M&O, is one of our EOC team leaders. So he will be involved in that drill as well. So tsunami drill preparedness.
Cool. Dr. Jocham.
You know, it's there's always a challenge in being the last one because I know like everybody's kind of packing up their stuff and ready to go. But it's
I'm
even
here.
twice as challenging when I have to follow the tsunami crab story. just so you know. So I wanted to bring to the board's attention, there is a bill, AB 428, and it's called the Medina Bill, and there's several other assembly members and senators that have signed on to it. But this is a very important bill for special education funding. And the bill would provide $390 million, not all to Newport-Mesa, unfortunately, but in ongoing special education funding. And what it does is it kind of takes what the governor wanted in his budget, but says it's not really equitable to distribute it under LCFF. That really special education kids don't necessarily fall that way. And, you know, one of the The big areas where we don't get hardly any funding is for preschoolers. And we have a lot of preschoolers with special needs, and we know that early intervention for those students really works. So this bill targets money and it distributes it a little bit differently. So it's looking at bringing up, we get what's called AB 602 dollars, and it's at a certain rate, and it's based on our ADA. But what it does is there's disparity in California of districts that are in the $400 to $500 per kid and districts that are over 900, almost 1,000. And so what this bill would do is bring those of us who are low, and Newport-Mesa is on the low side, over a 5-year period up to that 95th percentile. So we would be really supportive of that. As I said, it also provides preschool funding. And what's interesting is that, charter schools for their special education programs and population, they also get the same funding, but they don't serve preschoolers. So there is often more money for them to spend on other kids because they don't have this huge preschool special education cost that we don't get any funding for. So this is trying to make that a little bit more equitable. And then they're looking at high-cost kids. And again, we know that some school districts, we know that this is a district where families move to. Families we hear that when people come in and they say, we heard about your special education programs here, and we know that you guys do a great job. And, we have kids going into residential treatment. We have a lot of high-cost kids. And this bill would also address funding for kids that are considered high cost. And it's kids with more significant disabilities typically. So that's one of the bills we really want to watch and support as a district. So that's one thing. And then the other one is that on this Thursday night, we have an autism community resource fair. 6 to 7:30. It's over at Harper, the Harper Multipurpose Room. And there's a few different presentations, like from 6 to 6:15, we have Julian from Julian's Awesome Sauce. So this family, it was just in the paper, I think a little bit ago, that they created this business for their child with autism. And so now he sells this barbecue sauce. And then at the end, from 6:30 to 7:30, we have a resource fair. So we have people with, judo for kids with autism and different programs for kids with autism. So if you're around, would love for you to stop on by. We do have Spanish interpretation, and we do have childcare available for anyone who wants to attend. So.
Wow.
It just popped up on my screen about an hour ago that Betsy DeVos is slashing Special Olympics funding. Do you know anything about that?
I think I saw the same thing you did, that she's saying that they're cutting funding for Special Olympics, but I'm not sure what that really looks like.
$17 million or something like that, a huge amount. Okay.
Of course they are. Thank you all for sticking around, and thank you for your reports. I really know that the board appreciates them, and we hang on your every word. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mrs. Flor moved to adjourn.
Second.